We've got one shot to feel alive. We've only got one shot to feel alive. We've got one shot just to feel alive. We've got one shot. Yeah! We've got one shot. Do you feel alive? Get in, get out. You know that we won't back down. To feel alive. Waiting for the chance to show the world who we are. We've only got one shot. Whoa. We've only got one shot. Whoa. We've got one shot to make it count. Waiting for the chance to show the world who we are. We've only got one shot.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the EA Sports F1 Creator Series. And what a pleasure it is to be back to, we're coming down to the final two rounds. The championship still in full flight, with Rasin Chai still at the head of the field. All the talking points surrounding our last two recent race winners, of course, being Tom 97 and El Ray Guri. But we step into a vastly different track tonight. Bahrain, as you might have seen the Bahrain Grand Prix earlier on today, well, we're carrying that through in the virtual sense as we look to put pedal to the metal once again with 2 rounds to go. My name is, of course, George Morgan. Joining me in the commentary box here this evening, Jessica Ball. Jess, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right, thanks, George. Hopefully the Creator Series lads will be able to pull off a great Bahrain race, because there wasn't many battles in the real life one. Hashtag spoiler alert if you haven't seen the race yet. I'm sure you would have probably seen it by now, but last week, Mystery Grand Prix, El Ray Guri topped that one. Meraki did very well in P2 as well, and got intermediate pole position too. It's going to be quite a close championship, and everyone's going to be hot on Rasin's heels tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell you what, Jess, we're not alone either, because we do have the one, the only Scott Taylor joining us, as well as part of our, well, he is our Clipbook resident extraordinaire here tonight. So F1 Scott, welcome back again. Of course, I get the pleasure of working with you still onwards. And we just want to say, little Easter egg, I think, for everyone at home as well. The singing voice at the start of the title, Scott. We've got to tell the good people, you were responsible for that little bit of artistry, that little bit of magic that we get at the start of the Creator Series.
I was thrilled to do it. Thrilled to be here. George, Jess, lovely to be here. As you guys know, I love the Creator Series so much. But yes, I've been a fan before I was part of the team, and I listened to the music, I enjoyed the music, and do you know what? I've come from a singing background, professional singer for many, many years, so why not just take a day of my life and put some music on it? Very proud of it. Glad everyone seems to like it as well. Just, you know me, I'm just thrilled to be part here. F1 is back, baby. I'm so excited. It's time to keep this going. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, we got a virtual appetizer coming up later on as well, off the back of the real-life race that we had earlier today at Sakhir. But we've got to look at tonight's festivities, because we have lots to digest. Obviously, the championship now, if we look at the top 3, obviously the championship fight spreads a lot wider than that, given the fact that we have very, very close battles throughout the grid. Let's take you through the standings as well. Rasin Chai still at the head of the order, of course, 109 points to his name so far, with M Sky Z on 102, who arguably has been a little unfortunate lately, has had a few issues creep in the last few races. Of course, Portugal was a little bit of an upper. It's been downer ever since. Of course, we look back at the Mystery GP. Things haven't necessarily gone to plan, but we do have GB68 nestled around the top 3, 3rd place in the standings, and only 9 points away off the top. Now, put that down to mere consistency, fair enough, coming 3rd last weekend as well in what we can only describe as one of his better results this season. Not his best, because he did come 2nd in the first 2 rounds of the championship, Jess, but with GB68 still no doubt chasing that first elusive race win.
It's got to come soon, shouldn't it? Unfortunately, he's not going to be here tonight, but I'm sure he's going to be here for the final round of the season in Jeddah. But he's had a P2 in China, round number 1. Azerbaijani came so close as well. and he scored some decent points here and there. There were a few races where he struggled. The Mystery Grand Prix came close to that as well. Surely, maybe next week we will see an elusive race win, but we will have to wait a little bit as well. And we've got the likes of Meraki, who keeps going last from last to every week just for a bit of fun and a bit of content, and he's still managing to pick up some great finishes as well. So watch out for him. But also, George, we've got to watch out for the drivers who are at risk of losing their F1 seat and being demoted to F2. There's 5 drivers that could be at risk of going into the playoffs just before we start the next season. And there's a few drivers on the bubble.
Yeah, there are. It's really tight down there at the moment. And obviously it's interesting because the playoff zone currently sits below obviously the I'm looking down at P17. We've got a group of cars there. Dirk Chocolate being one of them. Of course, Chesnoid Gaming, who is right in the mix. And furthermore, many others. Curbs as well as El Taco Man, Mr. Dale as well. Some names that you probably wouldn't expect to necessarily be removed from the F1 contingent. Dirk, maybe you'd expect it a little bit, given the fact that he's responsible for most of the infractions that happen throughout this championship. But still, fair enough. What to talk about as well, real wholesome moment happened not too long ago. Of course, Chesnoid Gaming, the birth of a new child. Happy Regen Day to Chesnoid Gaming. Brilliant, obviously. Congratulations to him as well. And if he's live, make sure you guys say congratulations. I know it was a little while ago.
He's not racing tonight.
He's not racing tonight. Okay, well, make sure you drop him a nice tweet there, guys, just to give him a little, give him a hug, virtual hug for that fabulous bit of news. But yeah, he's got bigger fish to fry now because he has got to try and stay in the F1 Creator Series. Obviously not here tonight, which is going to set him back a little bit. But now, folks, and first of all, I'm going to go to you, Scott. We have got, obviously, not only the GB fight, we've also got the M-Sky-Z fight. He's looking for a bounce back after last time out. Meraki seemingly around the point segments. Has he got to bin off these last to first, though? Because surely, coming into 2 final rounds in the championship, he's the reigning champion. He has a chance here. You don't want to squander it.
Exactly. He seems to be doing very well, even though he is taking a little bit of a maybe more relaxed approach to the whole standings in the league format. He's still at 98 points in 4th place. He's only 11 points off the lead. I feel like if he just sort of put his head down, took it a little bit more seriously, he could win this again. But what I love is that we have 2 rounds to go and the title fight is so close. Unfortunate for GB not being here, right? That's gonna make next week maybe a bit too tough for him. But Skyzy has been so consistent, and obviously Razin, like the pad master as they call him, like he's just been so consistent as well. It really is any of theirs to take at this moment.
It is, and certainly some of the drivers that we haven't necessarily seen all season as well, Jess, also in the midst of trying to break into this fight. I'm looking at the likes of Tiamat Marduk as well as the likes of Tom97, who has missed his fair share of races. But whilst he's been here, generally it's been a podium, and I must say on 2 occasions, a race victory. Portugal being the last one, which was just epic. I mean, what does he need to do? I think it's just show up, right?
Yeah, that is one of those things, but also he needs to keep up the consistency because he knows he's not going to have Tom here tonight, but he is going to have a few familiar drivers around him. The lowest he has scored was around Monza, and to be fair, around Monza he was very, very unlucky, had some issues there. But apart from that, he's never finished outside the podium. So as long as he keeps up that consistency, he still needs to get in that fight. But ideally, he needs to finish, I think, 1st or 2nd in the last 2 races in order to stand a chance. And obviously with the likes of GB68 not going to be here tonight as well, he may have a chance to get into the top 3 in the standings, which is no mean feat. I was tipping him to be one of the leading contingents going into the Creator Series this season with him being full-time, but there have been the likes of Razin Shine Skies, like you were saying, who are performing more consistently and picking up more wins. So I think for Tom97, if he doesn't win the championship this season, I'm calling it that he's going to win the championship next season on our final season on F1 23.
Yeah, I definitely think the next season is going to be probably one of our most consistent and most, should I say, our most outrageous, tighter championships. Not to say that this hasn't been tight. It's very, very close. Alex Gillen, another one to watch, of course. Tiamat Marduk, like you alluded to, Jess, not here tonight. Currently lying in a grandstand somewhere in Bahrain after watching the Bahrain Grand Prix in live fashion with Tom. Believe it or not. But also, we got some other names that we have seen in the past go on to do great things. Zafso further down in 9th spot, of course, representing the Aston Martin contingent, Scott. And coming off the back of what has been, you know, a helter-skelter championship for the Aston Martin team. Again, Zafso in the points more often than not, and he's capable of doing great things. We allude to him always as the OG champion. He was the champion in Season 1.
Yeah, you can't write Safso off. He's very fast. I was in a race with him yesterday, and you just don't really realise the pace he has until you're there with him and just watching him go off into the distance. Aston Martin on the constructors as well. They are in third place right now. They're a little bit safe in third, but not too safe. But they're staring down Alpine. They could get that second spot, even that first spot. But, you know, with GB not here, it's going to make it a little bit tougher. Safso, if he can bring it hard today, the team should be a bit happy with that. It's going to be tough for him, but hey, if anyone can do it, it's Safso.
Yeah, I think it's important to note as well, the wins side of things, that it's been very sparse, been very spread out. Only, should we say, one driver has actually taken more than one win this season, which is unbelievable when you think of the many drivers and the talented individuals that we do have in this series. And the only one to do it, Tom97. Scott, how significant is that?
He is, like, as Jess alluded to as well, like Tom, he is that sort of sleeping tiger. He's got such incredible speed. That's why we do see him in some of the top kind of leagues as well on this game. He is an incredible driver, and also he's that balance, right? He's that balance between the esports nearly and the streamer, and kind of bringing it together. And he's really put his mark down. And I think people are going to have to watch out and be worried for next season, because he will definitely be a strong contender.
Yeah, he will, without any doubt. And obviously, like many others that we have contending for the series, I certainly don't think for 1 minute that GB is going to take this line down, I think, going forward. I mean, obviously, tonight, not here, but looking ahead, I mean, he is someone with a point to prove. You know, he needs to go out there and find that first Creator Series race win. I get the feeling that is the cork in the bottle here, Jess. I think all it takes is that one victory, and then the rest will follow.
Yeah, we're seeing that with the likes of, obviously, Meraki as well. It took him a while for him to keep getting race win after race win after race win. I remember when I first joined the Creator Series, I kept asking myself, when's he going to get more wins? Because he kept getting, like, second and third places, and then the world's your oyster for Meraki. He became champion last season, and he's just having a bit of fun this season as well. But whatever someone does, I think there's going to be many drivers that want to pick up. Peya, for example, could be up there. He was very unlucky last week. He can get a first win as well. And obviously Dave Gaming on his day could be quite good as well. Tom was quite close last week too. And we even saw Elve Guri pick up his first race win last week. So I wonder if he's going to get another win to his name this week around Bahrain, of course, which the drivers should know very, very well. Because obviously the real-life drivers raced there earlier on, and most drivers have raced there in career modes for their first race, so it should be interesting. The reason why we were waiting, by the way, we were trying to get Michi Hoyer in the lobby. Unfortunately, I think he's having computer problems, so we only have 19 drivers tonight.
Yeah, it looks like we've got a couple of issues, and it's sad to see no Michi Hoyer, who I know, for one thing, is obviously one of the more rampant drivers, went full-time at the start of this season, and has been a solid performer, but unfortunately we're not going to be seeing him by the looks of it tonight if it carries on, having some difficulties in the lobby. His best performance of this season, finishing third all the way back at the Mystery Grand Prix just after Monza. That day, incidentally, picking up the fastest intermediate tyre lap as well. But still all to play for. Of course, we've got 2 trips around deserts now to close out the season. Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, which is going to be spectacular. Rasenchai with a great chance to lift the title coming through the back end of the weekend. But let's talk about Bahrain in itself here, Scott, because obviously we've witnessed it tonight in its real-life entity. We're going around it now in the virtual sense. Plenty of straights, in a sense, when you consider the fact that, you know, coming out of the final corner, turn 15, down through towards turn 1, you've got a straight before that as well that takes you through to the double right-hander. And then prior to that, the other DRS zone between turns 10 and turns 11. And then you've got the run between turns 3 and turns 4. It's that tricky sector 2, I think, that's going to make all the difference tonight.
Exactly, and also who is kind of using their brain maybe a bit more than others, because as you're saying, like, as we're getting to the end of the track, coming down the start line, right, turns 1 and 2, it's like, are you going to try and make the overtake and start the straight, like the sort of main straight, or are you going to wait till after turn 2 and go for that sort of shorter bit? It is DRS as well. because sometimes if you overtake too quickly, it's just going to come back at you and you're going to find yourself in this trap for however many laps, 57 laps or whatever it is, when you're kind of struggling. So you really need to think about it. Will we see turn 9, 10, that area affecting some drivers? I really think we will. We've seen it affect Leclerc today quite massively in the real F1. So will we see anything like that? Drivers locking up, maybe even a bit of contact? Bahrain, it's a wonderful track, a night track, which for me just always makes the cars especially just look a little bit more beautiful, especially some of those helicopter shots. I cannot wait for this, George.
Yeah, it's going to be special, Scott. And of course, we will be coming to you as well with the clips that we will be obviously bringing to the people that are tuned in to the live chat. And Jess, obviously going back off what we heard just then from Scott, with obviously the cars now making their way around in quali. What do the drivers need to do in order to extract the best times possible at a track like Bahrain?
Well, Bahrain, it's definitely a track which is very, very high on the tyres at some point. That it can get very hot around here, as the drivers were pretty much enduring today as well. And we saw the likes of the two Ferraris doing well in real life back in 2004. And it's about these elevation changes. You've got the likes of the turn 4, and you also got the likes of heading towards turn 8, 9 and 10, the heavy braking zones where you got to trail brake. If you don't trail brake, you're going to lose all that lap time, and it's not going to help you at all. And there's a few drivers that are running with no assist as well. So it's about nailing it as much as you can. Make sure you get those braking zones right as well. Make sure you gain some extra rotation around some of the corners, in particular around turn 5 to 7. Traction, I feel, is quite key around turn 11 to 13 as well. And there's quite a few kinks where they may need a bit more downforce than usual, but we'll see what happens. But I do believe we are in at the session, and we got a few replacements tonight, George.
Yeah, seemingly. We've got, at the moment, we're watching Zafso make his way down through towards turn 4. And DRS open, donning the intermediate tyre. The majority of the grid donning that intermediate tyre as well. There's only one car I can see, as far as my timing screen tells me, that's out on track on a set of softs, and that is Hoodie Pete, who is down in 9th place. A few drivers getting called upon, coming out of F2 essentially into F1, and Hoodie Pete is one of them, as is Luke Howick as well, someone who perhaps you guys wouldn't have necessarily heard of, though if you have tuned into F2 you would have done. Someone who is obviously very tenacious when it comes to making the big moves, and is always involved in the odd scrap, currently nestled in 22nd place in the F2 Championships. There's still quite a lot of work to do if he's going to achieve a playoff place, but still nonetheless has brought some of his best results in recent weeks, achieving 14 points last time out at Bahrain in the feature race. Certainly was one of his strongest weekends. He also picked up a point in the feature race at Portimao, and those being his first scoring rounds of the championship. But now steps in to the Formula One cars, as now Zafso heads up towards the line to complete his very first flying lap and sets a 1:33.778. Not representative necessarily in terms of what will decide the fate of those heading into Q2, but in terms of the intermediate tyre time, it is relatively significant, though that guy Vince now puts an immediate stopper in Zafso achieving the fastest time and goes to the top. But here comes Mr. Dale, him on intermediate tyres. That concerns me, Jess.
Yeah, that does concern a little bit, because I thought he would go on the soft tyres, to be honest, as well. But he's just getting a feel for the track right now, so I will expect him to be around the likes of Zafso at the moment. So we'll see what he can do, of course. Another driver that it's on the bubble as well, but he's got 2 more rounds to turn it around. He has turned it around before. He had a very good result in Imola last week, picked up some points as well, and Pete just came across the line with a 1:30.9, who's also on the bubble to actually make it through to the playoffs from an F2 point of view as well. Had some great races in the last couple of rounds as well. Did very well in Bahrain last time out as well. He's filling in for Tom the Bomb. Obviously, we got Matty D, who's filling in for Chesnoid Gaming, because obviously Chesnoid has got other things to worry about, a newborn baby. So I wouldn't expect him to be racing tonight. GB68's not racing. F1 Alex is racing tonight. Dave Gaming is not racing. And we got the F2 Championship leader, Rob, who is looking like he's going to be the favourite to claim the F2 title next week when we head to Saudi.
Yeah, absolutely right. Here is Meraki, of course, the reigning Creator Series champion. here in the F1 side of things, and now making his way down through towards turn 4, taking part in quali by the looks of it, but on this occasion it's only the Intermediate Tyre Championship right now for Meraki. We'll have to wait later on as to whether he does decide to come out in a bid to win this title to head out on softs. Reminder, folks, as well, if you want to join in the conversation, make sure you use hashtag F1 Creator Series on social media. Plenty of social media handles as well to stay in touch with everything F1 Creator Series related, and that is at F1 Creator Series, and you can join in the conversation. We've got yellow flags popping up in Sector 3 as drivers prepare for fast runs. Hoodie Pete just going slowly after completing his fast run on the softs. Currently sat 2 seconds clear of the realm, ahead of that guy Vince, who still holds the fastest intermediate tyre time. But still, Meraki could yet spoil the prospect of a that guy Vince fastest into time. Meraki has had a decent record of achieving these exploits. Of course, historically has done well. In the last 2 rounds, he's actually taken the intermediate tyre pole lap, and is now looking to do the same here in Q1, this time at Bahrain. As he heads up towards the line, opens up very shortly that rear wing, up towards the line he goes. 3rd fastest, 2nd fastest in the intermediate tyre lap. That guy Vince still on top.
That guy Vince Colley setting the Intermediate Tyre Championship alight at the moment as well. We've got the likes of Skyzy, who's about to start. We've got one of the Hasses who just came across the line at 2. A bit of a lock up and ending into towards turn 1 as well. I think we're going to see a lot of tyre smoke coming up through there as well. Rob there sitting himself in P6 on those intermediate tyres, which is not too shabby for him as well. He's come alive in this F1 Creator Series right now. But here comes the Mercedes of Razin Chai, your championship leader. He's got a point to prove, and he is going through the back straight as he's about to start his flying lap of the session and trying to beat the intermediate tyre time that's currently been set right now as he heads towards the start-finish straight and towards turn number 1. We've seen quite a few instances on the F2 side of things in real life. Let's hope we don't see the same here tonight in the F1, but Razin, he wants that title and he's going for it. He could get it tonight, but hardly unlikely, but we'll see what he could do as he makes his way towards turn number 2.
Yeah, Razin Chai, the current championship leader, 109 points to his name and nursing a 7-point gap between he and MSkyZ. The only difference between the two, though, in terms of race results, is that MSkyZ does have a result on him already throughout the course of this season. The very first round back at China is where MSkyZ came out on top. Razin Chai, though, very familiar in achieving championship points. Has achieved 2 P2 finishes all the way back at the Mystery Grand Prix just after Monza and Austria at the Red Bull Ring. And prior to that has done well at tracks such as the fan-voted track that came up in round 3 just after Azerbaijan as well. So he too has plenty of credentials. The Monaco race indeed. And no doubt Razin Chai will be looking to try and add this one to his locker just to help out win this championship. Add his name into F1 Creator Series glory. Of course, powered by the F1 well, certainly the F1 game, EA Sports F1, of course, as now we dawn on a potential new era with the brand new F1 24 game, as you all saw as we got this broadcast underway. Razin Chai now heading down in towards the final 2 corners now, looking to close out this lap in strong fashion. Intermediate tyres on the car. The question is, can he displace MSkyZ, who's at the top of the order on intermediates? No, he can't. Only enough for 4th fastest overall and 3rd fastest in the intermediate tyre laps.
I wonder if he gets to go again, but I don't think he's going to have enough time on the cars to actually do an intermediate tyre lap again, because he's got to do a soft run, because don't forget, we lose out the slowest 5 drivers from qualifying, and they only have 8 minutes to go. And Alex doesn't want to mess around, doesn't he? He's done a 129.557 on a set of the Socom handed tyres. And we know these drivers could go a lot quicker than that, so we could expect a lot faster times as well. We got Emphatic on the lap, loads of people on soft tyre runs now as well, just to get their lap times on the board. Tom97 is still in the pits, he's trying to get into the session still. But for everybody else, they want to get their soft tyres right off the bat. We got that guy Vince, who's on an intermediate tyre run. He's leaving a bit late to get his soft tyre run done, isn't he?
Yeah, well, Nogueira not wasting any time whatsoever. This time sending it down towards turn 4 in the Alfa Romeo Sauber car as they now look to deep dive through turn 4 now. You need to be very cautious of oversteer. Gets on the curb as many of them do, heading through towards turns 5, 6, and indeed 7, heading through towards turn 8. And this time, again, need to be wary of the oversteer. No fear, though, from Noigueira's point of view, getting right on the curb as he now looks to plant the accelerator down and take it up through towards turn 8 and turn 9. Turn 10 now as you make your way through this very tricky hairpin section. Very, very scarily running over the curb section. Very easy, actually, again, to oversteer. That is the crucial element about Sector 2. Very easy to get it wrong as he now makes his way out of turn 11 now, but he looks in fine fettle. Does one Noigueira and does well in qualifying historically. His one-lap pace, definitely something to watch. His race pace is what tends to let him down. In recent times, we have seen him perform, you know, brilliantly over the course of the championship. Scored points in the first 3 races until that P19 back at Monza, as now Noigueira now hurtles around turn 15 and then will then take the run up through towards the line. I can tell you that Curb's now second fastest, Infratic down in third. Noigueira goes fastest and displaces F1 Alex, who is now down in second place. Though going back to the intermediate tyre times, MSkyZ still holds on to that plaudit, but it's Noigueira who is the fastest of certainly what is classified as the requisite soft tyre times.
Are we seeing Alvey Guri coming on top across the line? He is purple in Sector 2, so he's going to try and misplace his teammate. But he lost a bit of time in Sector 3, and he's gone second fastest with a 1:29.242. And I'm just trying to figure out where he lost the time in that sector. Well, it was hard to judge, to be honest. It was about 3 or 4 attempts difference, but surely he would need to find some more time, maybe to displace him a little bit, or maybe he's just focusing on making it safe into Q2. If I was him, I would try and think about that, see where the other times stack up, because there's still some other drivers still finishing their soft lap times, including this man in the Red Bull, Dirt Chotler, who's still on the intermediate tyres. I'm guessing he wants to start near the back, doesn't he? He doesn't have that long to go. 3 minutes still left on the clock. I thought he was going to get, 5 minutes still left on the clock. He's not going to leave it enough time just to get into the pits and get a soft tyre run. He's got a one-shot qualifying to do. I'm a bit worried about him, but knowing him, he can possibly get it in the bag and possibly get a soft tyre run anyway. But he's still got a lot of time to find, obviously, on the board.
Well, he's in a little bit of trouble because Matty D13, who is now looking to post his faster lap. I did just see the screen update, and indeed he has gone 8th fastest on soft tyres. There are quite a few drivers that are currently in the drop zone, Zapso included, Season 1 champion, who incidentally does don the soft tyres, still in the pits though, but can afford to wait a little longer for the timer to tick down. We have got Tom97 currently waiting in the pits. He is yet to move a muscle as well, but Dirk Chocolate now looking to add his time to the board, yet to register one that's valid. And I think he's more concerned about actually getting through to Q2 because he now bails into the pit lane as he now joins a Sauber that also comes into the pit lane too. MSkyZ, he heads up towards the line and also looks to perhaps plant a time on the board himself as well. Now getting set, I think, on his fast run here at this point on the soft tyres. 12th place, at least for now. Remember, though, he did set his original time on those intermediate tyres. So now the intermediate tyre time is no longer a concern. It's all about getting into that Q2, Jess.
Yeah, I don't think Sky D will have too much of a problem. He's always very, very good in qualifying. But knowing me, it'll probably come back to bite me. He's already a second quicker than his Delta time, but it may not be enough to have him comfortably stay, because we still haven't seen what the others can do. But he's usually good at these type of corners where you can trail brake around turn number 10 as well. So we'll see down this back straight. DRS wide open. He was looking good in the first sector, really much faster than a lot of the other guys as well. What about sector 2, heading past turn 11? In towards the very tricky understeery part of turn 12 and turn 13. Some drivers will pretty much compromise their setups to do well on their purple sector 2 at 38.028 in the middle sector. We know that he's going to be safe in towards Q2, but he wants to show that he's a force to be reckoned with in this championship to try and beat Razin Jai. Heading towards the final couple of corners, then he goes, and let's see if he can make it through into Q2. The answer to that is, well, it is P12. No, it's P1. It kind of didn't update for a little bit there.
Well, he was purple in the middle sector. He then went purple in sector 3. It's fastest for MSkyZ. Normal service has resumed as far as the McLaren is concerned. Second in the championship, and he might not be there much longer if he carries on the form like that. Extraordinary. I mean, outrageous. I mean, that guy Vince now. Oh, dear. No. My goodness me. And that is devastating if you're that guy Vince. Crashing into the side of the Alpine. Now, that was a dramatic moment. Not quite sure what happened there. I also want to note that Rasin Chai, P15, only setting a 132.9 now. Looking at that, is that guy Vince out of it here?
A lot of people keep leaving the session, so I wonder if we're going to get a lobby restart.
Well, that's news. That was not something we were expecting, but there we go. News of a potential lobby restart for Tom97 and Mitchie Hoyer. So that explains why we were waiting on Tom as long as we did. But obviously, as we were looking on our screens, there were plenty of moments going out and about on screen. Obviously, that must have been why we had a slight time delay as MSkyZ was looking to register his lap, eventually going fastest. So it does mean that whether we will go into a shorter qualifying mode, I'm not quite sure if we will actually proceed with full quali. Not quite sure. We will, of course, bring you guys some news very shortly. Tom97 still in the pits as we await to find out what the score is. But Jess, based on what we've seen, positivity there if you're MSkyZ.
Yeah, and if we get to do a qualifying again, I'm sure SkyZ is going to come in with some confidence knowing that he can hook that lap together. His sector 2 was amazing, and I was a bit worried that the timings didn't update, that he must have been validated, but he didn't, and he made sure that he hooked the lap together, and that was the lap he definitely needed to help him in this championship. And yes, we do have a lobby restart. Razin has just confirmed it in the chat. So yes, we've got a lobby restart. I think it might be full qualifying again, but yeah, we do have a lobby restart now.
Okay, well, we've got an update here now. We can actually head across to Scott Taylor. We've got a replay for the clipbook. Scott, take us through it.
Yes, we do. Looking at Vince and what happened there, as you can see, I think it might have been because the lobby was ending, but he was just like, do you know what, I'm going to go straight into that Alpine. So that's the thing that's maybe not too crazy, but if I can steal your attention for one more second, we have had a little issue from Dark Chocolate, and this is, we probably didn't want me to see this. The clipbook guy goes around the streams, and if I catch you, I catch you. And sadly, I caught Dark. So he was on a very slow lap, just burning fuel. Don't know really what happened, and there you go. Dark Chocolate, you have been caught, and you have been exposed.
God, look at that smile on his face, though. You cannot deny it, Scott. Incredible. Thank you so much for that insight. Certainly a very special moment for Dark Chocolate. Once again, showing his true class out there in the Creator Series. And this is exactly why he could yet be losing out on his actual Creator Series spot, as we now see Infratic spinning as well. Confirmation from Race Control. The session has indeed been red flagged, and we will have a new lobby very, very shortly, folks. So we can now deep dive into some of the discussions. Obviously, some points to really, I suppose, analyze and discuss here, Jess. Obviously, positives on the side of that guy, Vince. Obviously, due to his, well, outright pace on the intermediate tyres. He could not quite unleash the same level, though, on the softs, when, of course, the greater times, I think, were being asked upon. But it's that familiar name again on display, MSkyZ, reaching for the skies, and he grabs it. Incredible time. Obviously, now he needs to do it again in the new lobby.
Yep, he does. And with lobby restarts, I swear every time I'm in a lobby, there is always a lobby restart. We had that
So
on
it's your
Monza
fault.
for the race. Yeah, it probably is my commentator's curse, Mr. George Morgan, so they probably shouldn't get me in the lobby. Only joking. But SkyZ's only set to where he didn't get purple was set to 1, and he did a 28.6, which was still very, very competitive. And then we got set to 2, where it was about a few attempts quicker than the likes of Elbow Guri and Rob. And then he did a 21.7 in the final sector, which was absolutely rapid. The question is, can he do it again? It's a new mindset. Pretty much people will be a bit worried about going into this if they can replicate that as well. And I do believe it will be a full qualifying session going into this as well. And hopefully Tom97 can get in there for a chance to get it is into qualifying, because he didn't get a chance to practice, whereas everyone else did. So it's going to be a bit of a worry for Tom, but we know he can handle the pressure a little bit. But good to see Rob up there in P4 with his lap time as well, considering he is able to win the title next week. That should give him a good warm-up going into the F1 season if he can keep it up.
Yeah, obviously the current F2 championship leader, and seemingly in the form of his life. Someone who has really been good from start to finish in the F2 Championship, and without any shadow of a doubt, his experience with Alpine as well, working with the Alpine F1 esports team, and now moving that into his own driving as such, he's now becoming, without any shadow of a doubt, a star in the making. And I'm sure eventually when we see him join the F1 grid, he's going to be the thorn in the side of many a driver like El Guri, MSkyZ, you name it. Lots of the current champions, the top heavyweights in this league. I'm seeing some really vibrant improvements though, Scott. I mean, obviously MSkyZ currently, you know, looking back at the data we've got in front of us here, MSkyZ 3/10 clear of Noiguera, who's currently sat second. Of course, I mean, I appreciate, obviously, we can't take this as gospel, but just based off what we've seen from that previous session. I mean, you've got Rob mixing it up with the likes of El Guri, F1 Alex as well, who is forever competing in F2. Of course, he's one of the hopefuls looking to make it into F1. And then you've got Curbs as well, and Mr. Dale, who by far, I would argue, are two of the most or biggest improvers that I think we've seen in this F1 Championship.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I'm getting deja vu because we've talked about Curbs like this before in this thing. Sadly, last time though, his race pace wasn't up there with his qualifying pace. Hopefully that will stay the same. Mr. Dale's always someone you got to watch out for as well. One of the cockpit drivers as well, which I always find very interesting. He does very well to mix up with everyone else in this lobby and can have a sort of all or nothing sort of race sometimes. So hopefully he can get himself into that good position. We all know him and love him. Do you know who I'm thinking about at this moment? Safso. I was speaking to Safso during Q1 and he's not feeling too optimistic about this qualifying session and even the race. But see, something like this, he was looking in a rough position down in, where was he? Down in 17th. This is it now, a mental reset time. Get your head in the game, get a few more tenths of a second up there, and maybe this is just the sort of thing he needs, whereas other people who done well in that qualifying session might actually end up doing worse in this one.
Yeah, I mean, that's the difference maker, isn't it, Scott? I suppose if you get a moment where you can actually analyse, get some time out on track, you know, you're automatically getting an advantage. Of course, I mean, I know everyone else. Hoyer, and as well as, you know, the others that couldn't get into the session, including Tom97 as well, obviously could not get into the lobby for this initial session. They're now technically fighting against the grain now because everyone else has had time out on track.
Yeah, exactly. And how are they going to react to that? Are they going to react well? But to be honest, Tom is such a fast driver. Like, I'm just like, if anything, you maybe need to give him give him a little bit, make it a little bit harder for him. You know, he's only allowed to use the medium tyres. I'm joking, obviously, but it's such a close field that I'm kind of sometimes I'm a little bit all over the place. But Dark Chocolate is one to watch as well. He's obviously having that issue. He's in that cut-off spot. Like, these drivers must be getting worried. Okay, when they started the season and they knew there was a playoff, every one of those drivers would have been thinking, there's no chance I'm going to be in the bottom 5 out of 20 people. But we are now 1.5, or sorry, still 2 events away since we're restarting. We're still 2 races away. It's getting very close. I'm now worried. I'm seeing this as the crunch time. This could be a big weekend for one of those drivers.
Certainly could be, and if you're MSkyZ and Racing, potential for comings together as well. We saw it back at Austria, where they went wheel to wheel heading down through Slosh Gold. We saw it as well when MSkyZ binned it at the top of Remus. Didn't get damage, he was lucky in that extent, but obviously left himself so far back after leading the race. And, you know, moments like that, moments of heartbreak have hit MSkyZ's race from time to time, Jess, and he's always a solid qualifier. Fast, no doubt, but his race pace is always lacking, Jess.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. It's kind of comparison to Charles Leclerc, where he is always good in qualifying, but the race pace is kind of lacking maybe due to this car. He has gotten a lot better compared to last season. He's picked up more wins. But if he wants to win the championship and beat Razin Chai, he's got to improve on his race trim. He's got to find a strategy where it really suits him tonight, and that is going to really help him. If he does well tonight, he is closing up the gap to Razin Chai quite perfectly. But nothing can stop Razin Chai. He's got the favourite, but he's got a lot of pressure on this point. We do have a full 20-car grid because at the last minute, we've got someone replacing Michi Hoyer in a Mercedes. He didn't have that much notice. He's hardly had any practice, but we got another F2 driver joining in the ranks. We've got Patterson joining in the lobby. So with no notice, how's he going to do in Bahrain with hardly any practice?
Well, I mean, Patterson himself, his form has been somewhat decent, actually. Currently mid-table in terms of the championship, 11th place, and hasn't missed a lot of races, and has always completed, never had a retirement in F2, has completed every single race. Just goes to show his tenacity, and I think he's an exciting prospect for this race as well. You can never count him out, and he has, in fact, raced at Bahrain already here this season in the F2 Championship, picked up 12 points no less in the feature race, so he does have reasonable form around this track. So we've got to give him somewhat of a chance as we now ride on board with Zafso, who is the current, well, should we say the Season 1 champion once again. And of course, we heard his comments from his discussion with F1 Scott, who was having a little chat with him earlier on. And obviously may not necessarily be the most confident, but, you know, I get that feeling from Zafso. He's one of those guys who perhaps goes with that bottle half empty kind of mentality, but the results tend to surprise him. Maybe that's what he looks for. Maybe he wants the results to surprise him, Jess.
Yeah, he's like me, because if you set high expectations and you're not going to achieve those results, you're going to probably have a mindset which is not going to be good and you're not going to enjoy the race. Zafso likes to set low expectations. As long as he has battles and finishes quite highly, then he will absolutely take it. He's scored some good points recently. Take the mystery race, for example. 14 points to his name. He will take that. He's already won a championship. He's not bothered if he gets a title, because he just wants to have the time of his life in the F1. He's got his seat ready for F1 next season, so he's just going to try and do what he can for obviously the constructors with himself and GB68, both scoring very well in the Constructors' Championship. They just missed out last season, actually, as Zafso sets the first intermediate time on the board with a 1:33.8, George.
Yeah, he's just been taken over by one Racing Chai, just over 0.7 of a second faster, also on intermediate tyres. So the bar has been set by Racing Chai, and not only is he over 0.7 of a second faster than Zafso, he is also faster, as they say that, just been blown away by F1 Alex, though he is on soft tyres, a 1:29.417. So F1 Alex not wasting time on intermediates. He's going straight for the softs. Hoodie Pete also makes his way across the line on intermediates. He goes, well, drops down through the field as we see more cars now hurtling across the line. And that guy, Vince, breaks ahead of Racing Chai, nestles in a 32.897, and the first 32 that we have seen on intermediate tyres. M Sky Z going out on the softs straight away. He's gone purple in Sector 1 and he's gone purple in Sector 2. So very much laying down the foundations, laying down the hammer, trying to raise the bar against F1 Alex, who set that initial 1:29.417 on that initial soft lap. How much faster is M Sky Z here at Bahrain? 12 minutes and 57 to go, and it's a 1:28.496, nearly a whole second faster than F1 Alex's soft time.
That was his faster time compared to the session before, and we're pretty much at the early parts of the session. So Sky Z has found some more time in all of a sudden. So I wonder if he made a bit more of a mistake when we did that lap earlier on. So that was very, very impressive from Sky Z there. Very, very impressive. We've got one of the Haas cars of Taco Man, who is going out there on a lap right now. We'll see what he can do as well as he tries to get some more points to make sure he secures his spot in F1. He's setting a 40.7 in the middle sector in terms of his intermediate tyre championship as well. I wonder how that does in comparison to everybody else as he goes up to the line. What can he do? The Haas man, he goes 12th fastest, so not the ideal time for the intermediate tyre championship. We also got his teammate up to finish his lap as well in 18th at the moment. Rob, let's see what he could do. Up to the line he goes 8th fastest, George.
Yeah, looking good at the moment, Rob. He's pitching himself consistently in the top 10, and even in this case, on the intermediate tyres, though it is still that guy, Vince, currently holding on to the fastest intermediate tyre time. Iraqi now making his way around on track. He's got intermediate rubber on his car as well, bidding to become a 3-time running Inter's pole champ. Of course, prior to that, we have, of course, seen him take the fastest intermediate time in 2 other races. He did it at the fan-voted track at Monaco, and then, of course, back at China at round 1 as well, where he also laid claim to 6 points in that particular race. The Williams now hurtling, very nearly getting it all wrong, though, heading out of turn 7 and then heading through turn 8. And then it's down through towards turns 9 and 10. Now, this is where things get a little dicey because, of course, you need to be very cautious on the use of the throttle, not to mention also the brakes. Very easy to lock up heading down the hill as he now looks to open up the DRS and burst through towards turn 11. The current reigning champion in the F1 Creator Series. Now looking to try and bring his very best. Well, I do want to say as well, Infratic, currently 3rd fastest. That guy Vince getting set ready for his soft run. Still yet to put the soft tyres on the car. I'm still looking in the garages and he's still on intermediates. So not moving a muscle just yet. Rasin Chai is now on an outlap. So he's looking to now post a soft tyre time as we now watch on as Meraki makes his way through turns 14 and 15. Can Williams yet again score an intermediate pole lap? Let's wait and see as he now heads up towards the line. 4th fastest, and yes, he can. A 1:32.724, and by the looks of it, a 1/10 of a second, nearly 2/10 of a second, he's faster than that guy Vince.
That was very, very good from him, from Meraki, 1:32.7. We got Tom 97 who wants to displace the likes of Meraki's time there as well. 29.9 in the first sector for him, 40.4 in the middle sector as well. They're leaving it a little bit late, but the extra point in this championship could make all the difference in the Drivers' and the Constructors' Championship. So, of course, they would want to fight for the Intermediates Championship. Tom 97 goes up to the line. Can he beat Meraki's time at 1:32.7? Nope, he can't. He's got a 1:33.418. Still Meraki fastest on the intermediates right now. Nogueira is on a lap at the moment. He's about to start his lap. We've got the likes of Patterson, Hoodie Pete. There's a few people out on runs, and most of them are all going for the soft compounder tyres. They want to lay the foundations early because you don't want to have a one-shot run.
No, not at all. Incredible lap there from Tom 97. He's done a great job. Rasin Chai, 6th fastest, out lap currently. He'll then make his way around on his fast lap as we now ride on board with the Mercedes as he now crosses the start-finish line. Soft tyres, and he's going to look to try and close out the session here. 8 minutes and 45 to go here in Q1, so still plenty of time. Plenty of cars, in fact, in the pit lane, including El Taco Man, who at this stage will be bowing out of Q1. Remember, the bottom 5 in the 20 drivers that we have listed out in Q1, the bottom 5 will not proceed into Q2. We'll send 15 through to Q2, where yet another 5 will be eliminated heading into Q3, leaving the top 10 to shoot out for pole as we now see Rasin Chai head down in towards turn 8. Now looking to try and get this right with brand new soft rubber emblazoned on the Mercedes car. Of course, he'll be looking to try and close this out now, way before the timer ticks to 0, and has got the potential and the raw ability to do that. I can tell you he's posted a 28.648 in Sector 1, which is already faster than the Red Bull in front of him, that guy Vince, who, of course, currently sat in that 5th place. Rasin Chai could yet find himself really racing the stakes and moving up the order as we now see them head through, burst through the latter stages of this lap. Yellow flags being scattered across sectors 1 and 3 as now Q1 breaks into the final 8 minutes within the final 7.5 minutes now as Rasin Chai in the Black Arrow coming through the final 2 corners here on this fast run. Soft tyres away as now they head down the straight, opening up the DRS, and Rasin Chai can't break M Sky Z. It's the top two in the championship. M Sky Z and Rasin Chai, only roles reversed. P2 sits in P1. Here comes Nogueira. Where does he sit? 3rd fastest.
Well, you couldn't write this, could you? The top 2 in the championship, well, they're the top 2 in qualifying so far. Who's going to beat them? We've got many drivers that can do so right now, including the Sauber drivers as well. We've got also got the Red Bull as well. Having a battle with the Williams driver. It's not a race, boys. We're not racing just yet. Wait until around half an hour before we do that. They're still giving it their all. And they still got to set a lap yet. This is crazy. It reminds me of F1 testing where we saw drivers fighting like it's a race. But they're going to lose out on so much more time.
Well, they can't afford to do it. Certainly that guy Vince coming in on his inters, and will no doubt be looking to try and get ready to go for his soft tyre run. Infratic now 5th place. He's now on soft tyres. We're seeing more and more drivers now starting to don the slick tyres as opposed to the wets. Ran a little bit wide though, heading through the final corner, and did invalidate the lap just running through the final 2 corners on turn 14 and turn 15. That cost him a fast run. And now coming into the pits, he's going to have to look to reassess, potentially, if he has a set, utilise a fresh set of soft tyres, as now we see Mr. Dale heading out through on a lap. Someone, as we said, has really improved over recent races, and certainly this season in comparison to others. And in the AlphaTauri, making his way through turn 4, he's going to look to try and hook things up, heading through the, well, turns 5, 6 and 7, but seemingly, obviously, currently on a slow lap. Just can't quite get it right. Peya in the McLaren, heading down through turns 9 and 10. Also in the bottom 5. A very important lap this, but he's on the medium tyres. And this is something we see from Peya from time to time, Jess. But this is a very important time for the McLaren because he's in the bottom 5.
Yep, he is. He's got to make sure he is not on that bubble. And I can see on this car right now, he's on the medium tyres. So he wants to qualify into Q2 on a set of mediums, save a set of softs for Q2 and Q3, which I think is just as important because you only get 3 or 4 softs for the entire weekend. It depends on if you go for a balance or softer option, but with the amount of safety cars that could be predicted, I don't blame for some people to go the softer option if they want to, but most people will go for the balance. So Peya seems confident to go on those medium tyres. He goes up to the line, and it is a P7 for Peya. That is a decent lap time on the mediums, only a few 100s quicker than Saf. So very, very impressive for the other McLaren driver. We got the AlphaTauri comes up to the line. I think he's just improved on this time, and there's a few people that want to go for a last gasp to see if they can make it out of the bottom 5. And if I was that guy Vince, I would try and get a soft run done ASAP, but he's gone out very early on the set of the softs. He's going to be out of sync compared to everybody.
He certainly will, and there's many more that will be looking to head out as well, because if you look at Dirk Chocolate all the way down to Patterson, all of them in the pits, and Patterson incidentally in the drop zone, Hoodie Pete on the bubble. There's Altaco Man. Matty D13 went 12th fastest. He went, though, on soft tyres, and that wasn't fast enough to compete with Peya's medium tyre time. So that's a 1:29.720 for Peya on mediums. But for Matty, setting a 1:30.424, I would suggest that Peya's lap time is relatively safe and should make his way through to Q2 without any stresses, without any harm or any foul indeed. As now Altaco Man heads down the long straight towards the final 2 corners to then begin essentially lodge yet another time. But first of all, I'd imagine this one is just really an opening lap, or in this case a cool down lap, because the energy light was flashing on the back of the car as he now makes his way into the pit lane. Just trying to see who's actually showing improvements here further down. As we now see that guy Vince further down. Rob has also, in fact, shown improvements in the first sector. He's looking good. That guy Vince heading through now the turn 4 section, turns 5, 6 and 7, getting over the curbs yet again as the Red Bull now looks to pirouette its way through this slalom and then heading down through towards turn 8 in the drop zone. But someone who is vastly capable of achieving the big times here, Jess, and now he needs it more than ever.
He does need it more than ever. There has been some very great races from that guy Vince this season. He's megally improved as well, and he's definitely in a very good spot in the championship. I think if he gets a good result tonight, he should be safe in the drop-off. But anything can happen for that guy Vince as he makes his way towards turn 13 and 14. Now Rob's going to finish his lap as well, and he goes 6th fastest, so that should see him definitely safe from qualifying. That guy Vince may get a tow from the McLaren in front as well. This is a very good lap from Vince as he makes his way towards the final couple of corners, which I like to call one corner. We've got Emphatic, who's confident that he's going to finish on a high in Q1 here. But Vince, what can he do? 5th spot. That's a decent lap. That should see him safely through.
Yeah, will do. And just look at this. At the bottom 5, all of them out on out laps. So now's the time. Rasin Chai out on track, though. He doesn't really have a lot to worry about. 2nd fastest with a 1:28.799 and just out on intermediate tyres, which I would argue is probably the wrong time to be worried about that right now. I think, obviously, if you're down in the bottom end of things here at this stage. It looks like, by the looks of it, Meraki and Tom97 are going to be attempting their last to first because they're also on intermediate tyres. So more concerned about intermediate tyre points than actually getting through into Q2. So there we go. It's going to be a tough task, certainly for both Meraki and Tom97, as Zapso looks to try and solidify his place into Q2. Makes his way out of turn 14 and 15, and in the racing green-coloured Aston Martin goes P9 and ahead of Peya, who is now relegated to 10th place. Still more cars making their way around. I can already see that Curbs has improved in the first sector and is looking to try and usher in an improvement in sector 2 as well. He's managed to achieve a 29.089, not quite a 28, but close and in the realm, and is faster than Dirk Chocolate, who currently sits above him. Of course, Dirk just beginning his next flying lap now, but Curbs is showing some requisite improvement. By the looks of it, personal best in the first sector. Patterson also showing a personal improvement after completing his first sector as well, but we'll keep our eyes on Curbs, who now makes his way up the hill out of turn 11 through towards turn 12. Needs to hook up this final sector as best he can in order to give himself a chance of getting out of the drop zone, but we do know from recent form where we've seen him compete that he has shown that vital improvement necessary from last season to compete against some of the best in this championship. As he now makes his way out of the final two bends here, turn 14 and 15, DRS will be made available for Curbs on this fresh soft rubber up towards the line. He breaks into the top 10 by getting 10th place itself, and now his place will certainly go, I am sure, secured. But further down, you can see Dirk Chocolate on a lap. There are 2 cars, make that 3 cars now that are all improving. Curbs might still not be safe here, Jess.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried for Curbs right now, but that was still a decent lap time for him. He's just going to hope and pray that everyone else below him does not improve on their lap time. But let's see what Dirk's lap times are looking. 28.8 first sector, 38.4 in the middle sector. And we'll see what that does in comparison to Curbs. It looks a lot better than his previous laps, but will it be enough to get him out of the drop zone? Oh, yes, it is. That's more like it from Dirk. That should see him safely through. We got a few more drivers coming up to the line. I think we got one of the Saubers who's going into the pit lane. We've got one of the AlphaTauris. That is Dale, who's right on the bubble right now. Can he make sure he secures his spot into Q2? The answer to that is, well, I think that should see him safely through because there's one driver, his teammate, going up to the line. Will he make it through? Yes, but what that does mean, a big shot that does not pay you out of qualifying. Our drop zone people are not going to make it through to Q2. It's Peya, Takaman, Pete, Patterson, and unsurprisingly Meraki because he wants to do a last to first challenge.
Yeah, well, let me just say as well, Tom97 at the very death, managing to achieve that P4. I did really think, based on the fact that it looked like he had intermediate tyres on the telemetry, that he was actually going to try and attempt to do a last to first and go for that intermediate pole lap. Instead, he is headed out and he's taken P4 out there, so has left Meraki on his own at the back of the field. So Meraki on his own looking to achieve this last to first. But look at this. I mean, Patterson coming in just out of the blue, unfortunately not able to make it through to Q2. You look at Hoodie Pete as well, quite a few of the guys who have broken out of F2. Luke Howick, though, credit to him, he will head into Q2 and look to try and find himself a spot for Q3 as well. But some major shocks, obviously Peya, the consistent sort of idea for him in quali is to go for that medium tyre to see whether he can qualify into Q2 on that kind of rubber in order to give himself a chance at more soft tyres during the course of the race or through qualifying. But nevertheless, it didn't work out for him this time. M-Sky-Z fastest, Rasin Chai second, El Reguri third, Tom97 fourth, Noguera in fifth, Dirk Chocolate sixth, That Guy Vince seventh, F1 Alex in eighth, Rob in ninth, Infratic 10th. We've got Zafso in 11th, Mr. Dale in 12th, Matty D13 13th, Curbs in 14th, Luke Howick just getting through in 15th, and we lose Peya, El Taco Man, Hoodie Pete, Patterson and Meraki. So there you have it, folks. That is the order as we now head into Q2. Obviously, plenty more to look forward to, and I'm sure we'll have plenty of analysis to revisit as well as we make our way through the course of qualifying. But the one thing that is for sure is M-Sky-Z. Fastest again, following suit from the red flagged qualifying session that we had prior, Jess. He looks as strong as ever, but look at that, the championship protagonists together. Rasin Chai also in the mix.
Yes, I think it's going to be tough between those two to see who's going to get pole position. There's not really much in it in terms of those two as well. So it's going to come down to who's going to hook their lap in at the end as well. I'm sure they're going to be safe into Q2, but they're not going to count their chickens. They can't afford to become complacent a little bit as well. And what's important as well with the intermediate tyre run, Razin set his last lap time on the intermediate, and before that, it was the likes of Maraki and Skyzy who were out there on top of the intermediate championship. Nope, it wasn't. It was Razin Chai who took his final lap on the inters while everyone else was on the softs. He did a 132.5, which at the moment is enough to secure that extra point in the championship.
Yeah, points mean prizes at the end of the day, folks, especially when the championship is so tight as it is right now. Plenty of drivers. I mean, we look at obviously the top three in itself. GB 9 points away from top spot coming into this race tonight. Obviously, Razin Chai with the lead in the championship, 109 points. Remember, folks, as well, with Skyzy in second too. Obviously 102 points against his name, 7 points behind Razin Chai at this point. Already the drivers out and about for Q2, and already Mr. Dale looking to head out for an initial soft run just to sort of solidify the delta, give him something to reach for. Generally, you'll see at the top of Q2 the utilization of the used soft tyres just so that the drivers can land a time on the board and then pick up the soft rubber again, the fresh soft rubber, late into the session as the track gets optimized and obviously heated up just to allow that extra sticky surface on the surface of the tyre and naturally grasp them the best opportunity possible at improving their lap. But Mr. Dale now making his way down the long straight through towards turn 14 and 15, and he'll tee up a flying run. Imperative, because it doesn't happen very often for Dale here, Jess, that he gets through to Q3.
Well, when he does make it into Q3, he always celebrates like he wins the race. Like you were saying earlier, points mean prizes. And I did see his tweet last week as well when he made it through, and the sheer elation as well, and the progression as well for Mr. Dale. We didn't think he was going to race today, but the gods have spoken and they were able to fix his equipment, so he was able to race, which was great to see. So his expectations are already pretty much exceeded for him. He's doing a lot better job than I was expecting, and he's got a point to prove. He does not want to be in the playoffs. He wants to make sure he gets his F1 seat for next season, and he wants to set the time screen to like nice and early as well. Can he do it though, like he did in the Mystery Grand Prix? They had more time to practice this time. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we certainly will do. I can already tell you that Zafso has immediately stolen the purple first sector away already, despite obviously Mr. Dale and that guy Vince already ushering in their first sector times. Curbs also doing the same, but a 28.977 registered by Zafso straight out of the box is pretty quick already here with 12 minutes still to go. Mr. Dale, though, heading through towards turn 13, and no mistakenly, in fact, nestling in the fastest middle sector as you'd expect, given the fact that he's registering the first time on the board that we're going to be seeing today as he now makes his way down through towards the final two corners, turn 14 and 15. Mr. Dale, what can he deliver us? Let's wait and see as he now heads up towards the line. DRS is now opened up and sets a 129.889. Not a bad place to start, but more will come, no doubt, as we look to go on faster tyres. Skyzy has just stolen the purple first and second sector times. Here comes Zafso, who held that purple first sector for quite a length of time. And that guy Vince has just gone fastest with a 129.653. A mistake from Zafso now means that he has to bail into the pit lane. But the man who went fastest here in the opening two sectors as we reach the 11th minute in qualifying, it's Skyzy who takes the top time so far. It's a 128.828. It's becoming a bit of a trend, this, Jess.
Yep, it's something that we are used to with either Skyzy or Razin Chai up the top. But what can F1 Alex do? In the other Aston Martin, Safso was struggling a bit on his first run, so I think it's going to be all up to him as well. And as I was saying, Skyzy's lap time on the USEF softs, I think, is absolutely incredible. So he's going to be taking some beating for the McLaren driver. F1 Alex's first sector compared to Skyzy was not that much. This is looking a good lap on new softs for F1 Alex as he's looking to make Q3 as well. Bit of a squirm on the final two corners, so that's lost a bit of time there as he heads up to the line. He goes third fastest, attempt shy of Emphatic, and not that far off Vince either, so that is looking very close between the Ferrari, the Aston, and the Red Bull, George.
Yeah, Noigueira, purple in the first 2 sectors again, and he's making his way up towards the line. This is looking really strong, and Noigueira, despite going fastest in the first 2 sectors, can only go second fastest. That final sector proving decisive as mSkyZ managed to do a 21.833 against the 21.969 that Noigueira managed to set in that 3rd sector. That being a whole 10th plus of a difference, a 10th and 100th of a second difference between SkyZ and Noigueira. The finest of margins, one mistake costing him everything in that exchange. I can also tell you folks though, it's not all over yet. Tom97 has just gone purple in Sector 1 and is now currently on trend and set to perhaps even steal P1 here as we make our way around with 9 minutes to go. There is Tom97 now, bursting up through turn 11. He has every chance to put in a big time here, Jess.
Yep, he is. He has done a lot of races around here on this game, so this is no stranger for him. 38.2 in the middle sector, so not quite purple compared to the likes of mSkyZ, but it's all about that final sector. This is where it counts for it. He's got to nail it. Takes that final corner quite rapidly for Tom97. Less struggles compared to what we see from the other drivers as he goes up to the line. What can he do? It's a P3 for him. And how tight it is between the Sauber driver and the Tom97 is absolutely insane. We've got a few more drivers finishing off their runs. We've got Dirt Chocolate on the intermediate tyres, and for him it's going to be oh no, it's not the intermediates, it's the hard tyres. Sorry, it just didn't update. It's the 129.941.
Well, let me just say, I mean, Tom97 again, that final sector being very much the decisive moment. He once again fielding a time of 21.966 that wasn't too far away from what Noigueira had set. So SkyZ, the difference maker, being in the 3rd sector, which is quite something. Purple, though, in the 1st sector for Rasin Chai, who are currently riding on board with. So let's add another dog into the fight here as he now opens up the DRS, heading up through towards turn 11. And very, very important now that he can hook up Sector 3. It could make all the difference here to his flying lap as he now gets set to around turn 12 and enters Sector 3. Let's see where the time currently sits. He's purple in Sector 2 as well, and certainly the black arrow of Rasin Chai, who came into this race here, the championship leader, and is now looking to perhaps even close it out or make a statement against mSkyZ and also Noigueira and Tom97 as a result as well. Round in the final 2 corners. This is so vital here in the final sector now to achieve the top time. He does with a 128.683 and blasts away mSkyZ by nearly 1.5 tenths of a second.
That is crazy for Rasin Chai. Game on, I would say. Rasin was probably saying to SkyZ right now as well. But what can the Sauber team do? We've got El Guri, who won last week in Imola, looking to secure another win. He's always been looking good in the qualifying session. He joined midway through the season. He joined at the Fan Boat Grand Prix at Monaco, so he has been there all through the season, but he still had a very strong showing in the Creator Series this season. Up to the line he goes. He goes second fastest, and my oh my, what a lap for El Guri. Don't count him out for the run on pole position. Savso comes up to the line in P6. So that is most people's runs done before they head to the final stage of qualifying. Rasin Chai's out on top, El Guri second, SkyZ third.
Yeah, the crazy thing about those times is that if you're Rasin Chai, mSkyZ, Noigueira or Tom97, you set your best times in the first 2 sectors. Everything about El Guri's lap was that final sector. He was purple in Sector 3, and that is why he is second fastest, but not quite enough because his lack was in Sector 1 and Sector 2, Rasin Chai's being the strongest. So there we go. Incredible when you think of it. The mental chess that is played between these drivers here as we now make our way through towards the latter stages of this Q2 qualifying session. There's El Guri, second fastest in the timing screen. This is where the drivers will be thinking about getting set for one final run. Tom97, of course, right on the cusp as well, a 128.959. Zafso right on the cusp too, alike. He's currently 6th fastest and looking to try and improve on his current lap, but this time not requisite, 35.062 in the first sector, just getting set, I think, for one last run later on. But nevertheless, what a dramatic session it has been so far. And it's going to be crunch time in only the small matter of a few minutes' time, because we will be seeing the drivers make their way out on track. It's going to be a very busy circuit and already some activity in the pit lane. I think Curbs is actually leading a train of cars that are now making their way out, back out onto the circuit, and indeed now coming up through towards turn 1. In fact, he cuts the escape road to the inside to give him a little bit of breathing room against the Red Bull that incidentally followed him out as well. But still, incredible scenes here now as we come into the closing stages. There's that guy Vince with Curbs, who has just entered turn 4. So these two will lead their way around on the final laps here in this Q2 session in a bid to try and nail down a place for Q3.
Yes, this is where the pressure is really going to get on to the drivers right now. The ones who are on the bubble, they're going to be racing like their life depends on it as well. That guy Vince being one of them. He's about 1/10 off being knocked out, but everyone's going to be on fresh set of soft compounded tyres. Razin Chai is comfortable. That is 128.6 will be good enough for Q3. So he's got some soft tyres left to do for that. Don't forget, if you make it through to Q3, the drivers will have one set free fresh set of softs, and if you save one, that means you have 2 to use, which will be great to see. But for some people, they want to make sure they can use every ounce of that soft tyre to get their best lap in. We've got Curbs, who's going to be the first driver to set a lap time. One of the drivers who is looking to get the best 2 results of his life in the Creator Series to secure his spot again this season in the F1. He doesn't want to get into the playoffs. He wants to make it into the big leagues. Hopefully, these next 2 races will go well for him, and hopefully he can put a charge against the ones who are still in that bubble. Hopefully, everyone can pull off the race of their life, but we can't have that, unfortunately. Because makes his way towards turn number 4. We will see if he can make it out of Q2.
Yeah, well, Curbs currently sat in P20 first in terms of the championship, and is only a small portion away from getting through above that playoff zone, so he could yet find himself out of the relegation zone heading in towards F2. Of course, Dirk Chocolate currently leading those that are trying to break their way out of the playoff zone, but here at this point, Curbs needs to try and muster in his best qualifying show of all, as now he sets in place a 28.982 in the first sector. That guy Vince, I can tell you, has just registered a 28.790, so personal bests there for both of those drivers that were the first to make their way back out on track. A little bit of traffic here for Curbs ahead, but I don't think it will deter him on this particular lap. Infratic just sat ahead of him, as well as another Ferrari that is making its way around. That, of course, being Luke Howick, as now Curbs makes his way around the final 2 corners, manages to pull off a 38.468 in Sector 2, heading up towards the line. Might even get a decent tow. Goes 8th fastest, enough to break into the top 10. That guy Vince is going to be next across the line as well. Personal improvements in the first 2 sectors, so this is looking mightily strong for the Red Bull. Will it give him wings as he now opens up the rear wing? 4th fastest for that guy Vince. Could yet grant him safety. Let's wait and see. Plenty of other drivers now out on track. Everybody out on track, bar El Ray Guri and M Sky Z. I think they're safe, but Infratic now looking to try and muster absolutely everything as the Ferrari ambassador looks to bring the Ferrari famous Scuderia Scarlet Red livery back home into the top 10.
He's down in Sector 1, George. He's done a 29.0. He hasn't set a personal best at all. So this middle sector is where he's got to make it or break it. There's quite a few people that have just set personal best in the first sector for some drivers. So that's not going to be good for him. But we know that the second sector is where he shines. Is emphatic. He's going to get a tow for maybe Luke Howick in the back straight. We'll see if that makes a difference as he heads towards the end of the second sector. He's done a 38.110, and so that's looking very, very competitive for him. He just got to find a good final sector for him as well. We've got more personal best. Rob just said personal best first sector. We've got the likes of Vince, who's obviously going into the pit, so obviously he's not going to improve. But Emphatic goes up to the line. He only goes 9th. Well, he goes 7th fastest. It took a while for the timing screens to update there, but it's going to be tough for him to make it through into Q3 because there's still drivers improving. Rob didn't improve much on the first sector. He's still 12th. He's still 12th fastest, so I think he may be on another push run to go again. Dirt Chocolate's on a run. everyone who's in the drop zone is on runs. We'll see if Curbs could do it, but unfortunately, I think he may not, because we could see Alex is improving.
Yeah, he's not the only one either. Dirk Chocolate trying to find improvements. Matty D13, who is right at the bottom of the timing screen, has also found improvements in the first sector. He's managed to muster a 28.925. Can also see F1 Alex managing to personally improve as well, a 28.814. Noiguera goes purple in the first sector, managing to register a 28.620. So this is not all said and done just yet. We're going to be seeing lots of swapping throughout the entirety of this grid. Safso, who has also improved in the first two sectors. He's green in sector 1 and 2. Could it be green in 3? Goes across the line, enough for 7th place. Jumps in Fratic now up the leaderboard. Both Ferraris currently sat in the danger zone here, and yet could both be eliminated. Dirk Chocolate, who has also managed to do well, he's improved. So is this man, Matty D13. He's looking to try and lift himself off the bottom as he now crosses the line. Dirk Chocolate into the top 10. Matty D13 is out of the session, and I tell you what, he might not be the only one, because Mr. Dale, currently at the bottom, he may not have personally improved in the first sector, but he has improved in the second, as we now see Rob come towards the line. He doesn't go into the top 10. He's eliminated from qualifying. That leaves 2 drivers as Luke Howick. He's out to the top 10. Noiguera goes fastest with a blistering 128.375 and a purple second sector to boot. Luke Howick is confirmed out. Matty D13 out. Curbs is out. Dirk Chocolate, very unlucky. P11 just could not quite hold the top 10. And Rob, a very unlikely eliminee. He's out of qualifying as well. But it's Noiguera in the dying moments of Q2. He is fastest here at Bahrain.
I think one of the first drivers in this qualifying session to get into the 37s in sector 2. I was watching sector 2 and he looked so committed through the heavy braking zone where you need to trail brake quite a lot. So watch out for the Sauber team heading into Q3, because this could really, really help them as well. Give a challenge to the likes of Razinchai and SkyZ. But Razinchai and SkyZ do have some softs left, so they can do 2 push runs on a new set of softs. There are some drivers who only have 1 set of softs left for Q3, so they got a lot more pressure compared to those 2.
Yeah, fantastic lap from Noiguera, who has been rampantly improving time after time. Currently sat coming into this race tonight, 16th in the championship, and his best point scoring performance all the way back at China in round 1, where he achieved 10 points in that fight. It's absolutely bamboozling to think that he has been no way near, should we say, the top flight finishes, because he is certainly that quick. But again, someone who is strongest over 1 lap pace. Noiguera fastest here in Q2. Rasinchai second fastest. El Rey Guri third, with MSkyZ in 4th. That guy Vince in 5th. Tom 97 6th. Zafso in 7th. Mr. Dale qualifying for Q3 again, P8. And we got Infratic down in 9th. F1 Alex from F2 to F1. He's in the top 10. Dirk Chocolate's out. Rob's out. So's Luke Howick. Curbs and Matty D13 confirm the eliminees heading into the top 10 shootout. So Q3 is all that remains, everybody. We're looking ahead to what will be, I'm sure, a fascinating encounter as we now await to pick who is going to take pole. Of course, do let us know in the live chat. That's what it's there for. We want to hear from you guys as well back at home as to who you think is your contender for pole position for tonight's Bahrain Grand Prix in the EA Sports F1 Creator Series. And I tell you what, I personally can't wait. All the big players making their way into Q3, Jess. It's what you love to see, right?
Yeah, this is where the big guns fight it out for pole position. Obviously, we were expecting the likes of Razin to be there. SkyZ, obviously the 2 Saubers. Noiguera has really improved this season already. It's great to see him out there. Of course, Tom 97. In fact, there was a few Q2 sessions where he struggled to make it through to Q3. He has been cooking today, which is great to see as well. Tom 97, the consistent man that he is, up there. Vince, really good Q2 session for him as well. And Dale making it through another Q3 session, which I have to say is very impressive. He knows what he has to play for the remainder of this season. And of course, F1 Alex making it through as well. I was not expecting him to get through, but he likes his track. So well done to him as well. But great to see some of the drivers that you weren't expecting to get through into Q3 make it through. And I think that does make Dale make it his 3rd Q3 session of the season. I don't even know, to be honest, but he'll be very, very happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, I want to obviously ask you guys back at home as well. Just want to ask you to literally leave your comments in the live chat as to who you think is going to grab pole here in this session. Of course, they're now making their way out here in Q3. 10 drivers to decide who is going to take pole position. Light up that live chat, folks. I want to see it. We'll read out some of the names as well. I can already see Jonas coming out and saying Nogueira is cooking. He's apparently a quality beast. Without any shadow of a doubt, you're absolutely spot on. I'm seeing Matt Suvo as well from Zafso as well, who's obviously backing Zafso, season 1 champion as well. Looking back. Where's George's waistcoat gone? I'm sorry, Rob. It is now gone. I'm t-shirt donning. I'm going back a generation. So yeah, we're getting rid of the waistcoat. It is gone for now. It might come back in the future. Who knows? Depending on the event. But yeah, let us know. I've got Rasin Chai will get pole as well. We got Rasin pole position. In fact, on the YouTube chat side of things, you guys have been getting involved on that side too. Lewis also announcing to Luke Howick, my goat, deserved Q3. He was not far away. He had every chance to achieve that result. Unshifted Tuner, great to see you as well, mate. Welcome to the live chat. Remember, folks, you can join the conversation using hashtag F1 Creator Series as we now observe and watch MSkyZ, who has led the championship for a good portion, got unseated by Rasin Chai in recent weeks, but is looking to try and rein it back in. Only 7 points separate he and Rasin in the championship, and it could all change come the end of Bahrain. But he is now getting started on his first flying lap of Q3 here, Jess.
Yep, he is, and it's probably not too early to get my prediction in on who I think is going to get pole position. It's got to be the championship leader, Rasin Chai. He's my favourite pole position. I know he hasn't topped every session so far. He's just missed out from MSkyZ. He was focusing on that intermediate championship in Q1. Maybe hit a bit of the pace in Q2. Q3, he's going to show that he means business and he wants to win this title. So my prediction is going to be Rasin Chai for pole position, as he's been looking good in turn 7 already. I like B-Boy Roy's bold prediction there of Dell there as well. Why not? And the producer, Rob, who's usually our producer today, he's got family duties today, which is why he's not here. He's predicting either Rasin or Tom 97 because they've been sweating the chat in the last few days, so that one of those two. So yeah, there we go. That's my prediction. What do you think, George?
Well, I can tell you that I think a car will be on pole. That's what I'm going to come out with.
Buxton. There we go.
Well, the fastest time will take pole position. I think that will be a surefire thing. F1 Alex has now taken the top spot, but immediately unseated by MSkyZ, who pulls out a blistering 128.114. We've seen this from time to time from MSkyZ. He does not waste any time and comes out with his fastest lap straight out the blocks. Rasin Chai, though, just nestles in a 129.204. On any other day, that is certainly requisite of a fast time. Zafso not far away either, currently making his way down through towards turn 14 and 15 per green, as you'd expect, obviously, given that these are the first runs here in Q3. 28.871 in Sector 1, 38.778 here in Sector 2. Cross the line, only enough for 6th fastest, but we have got more cars coming across the line, including that guy Vince, who goes 2nd fastest as well. So joins the party with a 28.916. But I just want to talk about some of those times up at the top end. MSkyZ already out in front. We saw his time come in across the board. 8/10 clear now of that guy Vince in 2nd place, with Rasin Chai a whole second further back. That is sheer domination from MSkyZ. Is Nogueira, who has just gone purple in the middle sector. Need I say anything more about this young man? He pulled off some real serious exploits last time in Q2 and has just managed to go 2nd fastest here in Q3 with a blistering 128.568. Not enough to unseat MSkyZ, but he's only just over 4.5 tenths behind our current P1 sitter, MSkyZ.
We've got El Rey Guri, who is on a lap, not quite purple at the moment. He's done a 28.6, but there will be some drivers that will be on used tyres for this session. So if he gets into around about the Vince Rasin Chai territory, then there'll be a decent lap for him right now as he exits turn 11 in towards turn number 12. He is struggling a little bit to keep the car fully planted, so he may be focusing on his final run soon. never mind, he's on a 37.8 in the middle sector, so he is improving quite a bit. So one of it's quicker than MSkyZ. We did say that the final sector was where he shined in the last qualifying session, so this is potentially where he's hooked it up then. So El Guri goes up to the line. Last week's race winner. Can he get on pole for today's Grand Prix? He's 1/10 shy of Skyzy. That was very, very tight. If it wasn't for that third sector, he would have been up there. But it is Skyzy out on top. El Guri not that far behind. That was very, very tidy. I wonder if anyone's predicted El Guri for pole. I didn't, and he's possibly a force to be reckoned with.
Well, he's good value for it, and he was purple in both final sectors, managing to pull together a 37.894 in Sector 2 and a 21.684 in Sector 3. MSkyZ as well, though, holding on to that top time. This time, Sector 1, the difference maker. 1.5 tenths of a second of the realm, faster than El Guri. But it just goes to show that the Spanish God is back, and he's looking to try and muster his very best. Obviously, was part of the Creator Series in times gone by, took a little bit of a detour, a little bit of a break, but has since come back. And I tell you what, has really given himself a great foundation to succeed here in the Creator Series once again. We did just see a little moment as an Alfa Romeo Sauber made its way off the track just to make sure that Safso had the track space to nestle his fastest lap on the board. Just watching him now make his way down through towards turn 11. A 28.987 in the first sector is certainly not ideal. Be looking for something a little quicker than that, but nonetheless, it is faster than Infratic's first sector time as he now makes his way through turn 12. Turn 13 coming up next, and then a run down the long straight that'll take him through towards turn 14 and 15. Only the small matter of 2 corners to come, and then he can open up the DRS and head towards the line. Let's see if Safso can dig a little deeper here towards the very end. 129.751 was his last time, but straight away coming into the pits, it did look like he was a little unsettled in that middle sector. No doubt as well, that first sector costing him that particular lap.
Yeah, he was on an in lap though, so I think he was going to go into the pits anyway because he doesn't have that long. So yeah, I think most people are going to get their final runs done now, and Skyzy wants to set the gauntlet and the benchmark nice and early. He's the first driver to go out on an outlap very early compared to everybody else. And the next person to follow him is Razin Chai, our 2 championship protagonists. They mean business. They want to show why they're in the top 2 of this championship. And Skyzy wants to score as many points as he possibly can to make sure he closes the gap to Razin Chai. So we'll keep an eye on him. We know which sectors he's shrugging at, so he's just got to find some time there. Surely a 127 is on the cards for Skyzy and El Guri and Razin Chai as well. We'll see what Razin Chai could do on new tyres now to see if he can get near the likes of Skyzy and El Guri and potentially Noguera as well. A few drivers about to start their laps. It's going to get very, very feisty. We'll see what Skyzy could do as he heads towards turn number 1 now.
Yeah, MSkyZ now making his way out of turns 1 and turns 2. Currently leading the race for pole position. Let us know, as I said, folks, in the live chat. Hit us up. Make sure you make your voices heard. Who are you supporting? Who do you think is going to take pole? We want to hear from you. We will read out your comments as well through the course of the broadcast, as we're now seeing MSkyZ hurtle through the slalom out of turns 5, 6 and 7. I can already see as well Tom97, who is yet to register a time even on the board. He's currently out on an out lap, and this will be his one and only lap as well when he goes ahead and sets it later on. MSkyZ, you just hear a squeal on the brakes as he now heads down in towards the left-hander, heading out of turn 10. And now with DRS open, makes his way up towards turn 11. He doesn't have any traffic, which will be useful for him. It'll open up some aero, open up the door for potentially an improvement on already what was a stellar lap time. Remember, his best lap being a 128.114 that he set at the very start of the session. He'll be looking to try and do exactly the same again. He's just gone purple in Sector 2, so that is a good sign. If you are MSkyZ, of course, in the first sector, he looked good as well, setting a 28.396, which is, oh, goodness me, coming out of turn 15, and he lost the car as he now makes his way towards the line, still improves, faster again. It has somehow come to fruition for MSkyZ, a 28.114, to ensure his place up at the top, but it's not all said and done yet because we've got plenty of other drivers to be concerned about, including Razin Chai, who is making his way around the middle sector and trying to leapfrog out to P5.
Razin Chai is 1/10 slower than SkyZ at the moment, so to be honest, it could be 1/10 difference to make sure that he potentially get pole position, and then without that slide, SkyZ would have definitely been in the 127s. It's about that pressure. He knows what he's got to sell, what he's got to do in terms of the championship. And maybe he's just going to focus on the race now. Razin Chai at 37.8 in the middle sector, not quite purple, but we know SkyZ struggled in the final sector, so it's not all done yet for Razin Chai, our championship leader. Hits that right-hand curb as well. We've got the likes of Tom 97. He's purple in the middle sector. Tom 97 is improving, so don't count him out for pole position. Razin Chai goes pole position at the moment with a 128.003. But George, I'll let you cover the rest of qualifying, and Tom's gone off.
Tom 97 spinning it after going purple in the middle sector. Might have just thrown pole position out the window as Razin Chai has taken it here towards the very end of Q3. We've had lots of activity. Plenty of other cars still crossing the line. MSkyZ has already registered his lap. Noiguera in 4th place right now, looking to try and launch himself forward. I'm looking as well on my screen down below. We do, of course, have F1 Alex out on track, who's looking to also improve. He's green in the first sector, so that is a personal improvement. Tom 97 has finished. He cannot improve. He won't even register a time here in Q3. Zapso, green as well in Sector 1 with a 28.692 himself. Infratic also improving in his first 2 sectors as he now heads down into the final 2 corners here now at a 14 and 15. The Ferrari, the prancing horse, looking to prance higher. The P7 here in the top 10. 5th fastest here for Infratic as now we see yet more. That guy Vince looking to come across the line. He goes up to 4th place now and moves Infratic down to 6th place as now we have more cars coming across the line. F1 Alex, green in the first 2 sectors. He crosses the line, qualifies 7th fastest. Zapso also making his way towards the line shortly as well. Getting a tow indeed from Razin Chai, the pole sitter. A useful tow to another Mercedes engine car. Intriguing. Razin now, whilst he is currently on top, Zapso looking to join him. He goes 5th fastest ahead of Noiguera and crucially enough ahead of Tom 97 as well. Is Razin Chai trying to put the pieces of the chessboard in position for a potential race win? We'll have to wait and see, Jess.
Yep, we will have to wait and see indeed. Railway Guri goes across the line in towards P3 right now. So decent lap time from him. What could Dale do? He goes 9th fastest. But what could have been for the likes of SkyZ and Tom 97? It is Razin Chai that gets on pole. 128.003. He was so close to the 127s, but couldn't quite muster it. But pole is pole. What it counts, though, is the race. And Rob in the chat saying he think he may have cursed Tom. And yes, Rob, you did.
Yeah, I think you did, Rob. Unfortunately, he had every chance. He was fastest in the 2nd sector. I honestly thought we were going to see some last-minute fireworks from Alpine, and they deserve it as well. I'm actually getting news in my ear, in fact, that there are some key members of Alpine reportedly to have left the team. So quite dramatic here, scenes coming towards the end of the session. Razin Chai, though, fastest of all, goes to the top 4 Mercedes. MSkyZ, 2nd fastest for McLaren. El Guri in 3rd place for Alfa Romeo. Dat guy Vince in 4th place. Zapso 5th. Noiguera in 6th. A Portuguese lineup in 6th and 7th with Infratic 7th place, with F1 Alex down in 8th. Mr. Dale in 9th as well, who actually qualifies ahead of Tom 97. Who'd have thought, Mr. Dale? Incredible. Tom 97, of course, 10th fastest, not even registering a time after missing out on a potential pole position. After going purple in the 2nd sector, it just fell apart in the final sector, heading up towards the line. Some big, crucial errors, and welcome back, F1 Scott, as well. I mean, Scott, drama right through, and I'm not just talking about the drama on Twitter right now, but also we need to talk about Tom 97 and what could have been a pole lap after a sensational Sector 2 purple time. It all fell apart, didn't it, in the 3rd sector?
It did indeed, and I've got the clip for you ready so that we can all see it together. This is very unfortunate for Tom. As we see, he's coming down in his 2 personal best sectors. He was looking to be at least on a good time, just gets a bit too much of this curve, puts his foot down, absolutely spins it off, taps the wall. Quite a nice spin, to be honest, but obviously not what he was looking for. Definitely, you can see it in his face. He's just Not happy about that. He's thrown away a potential really good start to a race, and now he's in that 10th place, which going into turn 1 in Bahrain is going to be a little bit dodgy for him. Something else, sorry, we also seen happen in Q3, and I'll get that for you right now as well, is SkyZ had that little bit of loss of grip right in that final corner, right the similar places. I really do think this cost him pole position. You can see he's up to 0.2 tenths, 3 tenths. There, loses the grip, and you can see that delta just going all the way down until it's essentially nothing. It does come up saying he had a fastest lap, but he lost basically 3/10 of a second. So you do the math, you'll see where he would have been.
Yeah, incredible stuff indeed. Thank you so much, Scott, for that insight. I mean, obviously, MSkyZ, someone we're so used to, you know, he gets things right, doesn't he? He's so punctual when it comes to qualifying. That's a rare mistake, though, in terms of a qualifying mindset. Great opportunity, though, for someone like Rasin Chai, who obviously leads the championship into this round with MSkyZ just behind him. Advantage now for Rasin Chai here. Jess, great chance for him now to essentially build the gap.
Yeah, he's got to at this point as well. He's in a very good situation at the moment, and usually if you're on par around Bahrain, you tend to win the race unless strange things happen. And it's going to be interesting on what tyre he starts on. He's starting on the medium compounded tyres, so with SkyZ, so the two championship protagonists, going to be starting on the same tyre, but we've got the likes of El Rey Guri, Safso, no Guerra on the soft, so they're going to be chasing him down in lap 1. The guys near the back as well, Curves, Matty D, Peya, Taco Man, and Meraki on the soft tyres too. And everyone else is either on the mediums or the hard tyres. Tom 97 gone for the hard, so is Dirt Chocolate, Hoodie Pete, and Patterson, so they want to go for something different. And Bahrain is one of those tracks where the hard tyres are very decent anyway, so why not start on them as well? But the top two in the championship want to go for the same strategy at the moment, but they could change as the race goes on.
They certainly can, and obviously we want you guys to have your say there in the live chat as well. Be sure to let us know who your selection is for the race. Who is taking victory here at Bahrain? I can already see plenty of comments in the live chat. Meraki for a podium, says Matt Zuv. We've got Noguera going to a podium as well, says Edro Mendez. Thank you for getting involved, everybody. I believe Razin will always deliver, says Andrew Hornigold. I can see you in YouTube chat. My friend, even KFC coming out and saying that's finger licking good. No, I'm joking. KFC is saying that's a bad Q3 for Alpine. Certainly not finger licking good, I can assure you. But yeah, we're just waiting now for the cars to line up onto the grid. That guy Vince getting prepared for this one. Obviously, plenty on the line. The championship comes down to 2 final rounds with Bahrain and Saudi currently in the mix. Of course, this is going to be a huge battle. No doubt, an almighty scrap as we duel in the desert here between some of the best creators you will see on the F1 game. Rasin Chai up at the front end. MSkyZ will join him on the front row as we now see him make his way up through towards the front row of the grid. There you can see as well in behind El Rey Guri what a difference he could make as well. The strategies are vastly different throughout the entirety of the top 10 with a few softs, a few mediums, the odd hard tyre. Who's got it right, though? That's the major question. Let us know, folks, as we now get set for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Just waiting now for Meraki to get set at the very tail of the order. He'll be joined by Patterson at the very back, who moves in from F2. Here come the lights. 3 lights, 4 lights, and the 5th light. And it's pedal to the metal. And it is go, 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 go. Getting off the line well, Rasin Chai. Not a great start for MSkyZ. Gets caught up in behind the Mercedes. And now bids to go around the outside as they look to head through turn 1. Look at this as well from El Rey Guri. That guy Vince trying to get into the fight. Safsa with a mega start. Moves up to P5 as well. But Rasin Chai undenied at the front of the order. Makes his way through turn 4. Further back side by side as well between Robin and Fratic. And Rob moving up to P8. Remember, he did make it through to Q3, but he's taken full advantage of the race start here, Jess.
Yep, he definitely has. A lot of other drivers have taken advantage too and gained a lot of places. Rob's gained 4 places. We've got Paya that's gained quite a few as well. F1 Alex has gone into a spin in the background. He's down into last position. So he caught up in the trouble in towards turn number 7. But Razin Chai already pulling away 7/10 of a second compared to his championship rival, Sky Z. And there's lots of other drivers that are looking to try and make amends as well. But what a poor start from F1 Alex.
Yeah, incredibly bad, and unfortunately sees himself at the tail end of the field. Very unfortunate start for the Aston Martin. Of course, jumping in and replacing GB68 for this weekend, and it certainly seems that he's going to come unstuck in this affair as Al Taco Man goes down the inside of Meraki, looking to try and defend against the Williams. Remember, Meraki starting from the back of the grid, bidding to do a last to first of sorts. Further back then, we do have the AlphaTauri coming forward as well. We just saw there Matty D just having a look down the inside as well of Paya, as we now right on board here with the AlphaTauri. Rasid Chai crossing the line to begin lap 2 of 57. We have got some movement further up. Curbs as well, looking down the inside of Luke Howick. So that's Ferrari versus Williams, which is something years gone by we've seen plenty of in the years of Damon Hill, Jacques Villeneuve, as well as Michael Schumacher and Eddie Irvine, as now we see it coming together between Luke Howick and Paya as they head down through towards turn 4. There you can see just in front, Curbs, Luke Howick as well in behind. Paya now going wheel to wheel, this time with Matty D13 coming out of turn 4 and through towards turn 5, 6 and 7. It will be Curbs who has the upper hand as now Luke Howick makes his way through. As they come out of turn 8, El Rey Guri right on the tail of M Sky Z. Rasin Chai still very much in control and not in a bad position either, because of course El Rey Guri needs to act here, Jess, because he's on soft tyres.
Yep, he is. I'm not surprised. I'm quite surprised actually that he's not making the jump that we would expect, despite him setting purple first sector. I think if he doesn't get a move on ASAP, the dirty air is not going to help him at all, and his softs are going to burn like crazy with a tyre degradation too. So he just got to use that advantage earlier on. With lap 3 being the DRS lap as well, maybe you can take the advantage then. But we do know how hard the DRS trains are around here. So I'm just looking at the soft runners in general. Some of the soft runners haven't made grounds at the early part of the lap. The only ones who has are the ones who've had hard runners around them. We've got Matty D trying to get past Luke Howick. We've got Meraki who's trying to make moves in the background as well. Curbs chasing down Tom 97. They just action going by everywhere. As DRS is enabled, it's time for people to make some moves. Savso in P4 has got past that guy Vince. He's up into 4th place. Vince could challenge him back very, very soon. Sky Z, can he get past Razin Chai? No, but Vince is looking good though on the back of Savso. Could he get the lunge heading towards turn 4? The answer to that is no. He's saving a bit of battery, ready for the rest of the race.
Yeah, Savso managing to take full advantage against that guy. Vince moves up into 4th. And now hunting down after M Sky Z is now El Rey Guri moves into 2nd place, manages to displace M Sky Z coming out of turn 8. Through turn 9 they go, and now it will be the Alfa Romeo Sauber that sits in 2nd on those soft tyres. Needs to get that rubber working in the initial stint. Next on his list, no doubt, being Rasin Chai as he looks to close the gap and try and initialise an overtake. But the pace certainly not too far from El Rey Guri in this initial stint here, Jess.
Yep, it's looking pretty decent. I told him he had to go for the move eventually, and he was very, very brave as well, going for a move that you weren't expecting to, but sometimes that's the risk he had to take. You may not go for the moves just yet, but when it does, it is very, very good. So the times are now up to temperature for El Rey Guri. He's around about 5/10 between himself and Razin Chai, who won't have the DRS, and he's got plenty of VRS to use as well. So he's going to be very, very patient at times as well, not go for it every lap. So here comes El Rey Guri now, setting the fastest lap of this race. If I was him, don't go for the move here, go for the move in turn number 4, and he does back out of that move now. So he's just got to wait for a little bit. He's caught up by a few tenths in towards turn 2, but Razin Chai had the advantage on traction going in towards turn number 3. Meraki making up another position in the background. He's up into 14th spot, getting past Luke Howick. So from last 2 challenges looking quite well, but Meraki's going to try and go for it again as Luke Howick almost got the move in towards turn 3 and in towards turn number 4, but Meraki just about gets it done. He goes into P14 and chasing down another position for P13 now. Lovely stuff.
Yeah, nice little bit of weaving as well from Meraki heading through down towards turn 4 as well. Just kind of making Luke Howick aware perhaps. Not quite sure what happened there, but yes, a little moment to say the least. But 14th place for Meraki and there's currently gaps spread out across the entirety of this grid that are now starting to level out here at this point. As we now go across to Mr. Dale, who currently sits P7, and closing up to Noiguera in 6. 4.5 tenths now between them as they rise up the hill out of turn 12, turn 13 coming up next, and then a long straight that takes them through towards 14 and 15. Racing Chai still in control, but El Guri putting a little bit of dent in the deficit between the two drivers, and based on the last lap, if we think about it being 4 tenths the difference, generally considered to be the difference between the compounds as well, between soft and medium, as now we see DRS opening up here for El Guri. Let's see if he goes to the move in towards turn 1, or will he delay it until later on, trying to break out of the aero. Not going for the move this time, maybe just selling the dummy to a certain extent to Racing Chai to give himself an opportunity down towards turn 4. The problem is he came out second best in that one, as unfortunately now seen himself develop too much of a gap between he and Racing Chai, so wasn't able to make the move heading through turn 4. Might be the case he's just happy to sit behind Jess and just save the tyres.
Yeah, if I was him, I would probably do that as well, because you don't want to burn the tyres up too early. We've seen that in the real life Grand Prix, didn't we? People trying to save a bit of their soft rubber. We did see the likes of spoiler alert, Max Verstappen saving his softs for quite some bit. So maybe that is what the likes of El Rey is potentially doing right now, because you don't want to push too much. We know from experience that the ERS deployment, it is quite high in terms of charging, but we've got some people at the back chasing down a lot of people. Matty D, who is looking very good in the F2 Championship, he's chasing down Peya for P13. He is lighting the tyres up in the night sky in Bahrain as he makes his way towards turn number 13. He's also fighting with the likes of Curbs and Tom 97. I'm quite surprised to see Top 97 in P10, but he's on the hard compounder tyres, so he'll make his way up there soon. But here comes El Guri to chasing down Racing Chai for the lead, and what a beautiful move from El Guri on the softs. He leads the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Yeah, obviously had to answer back against Racing Chai to some degree, and you can just see him there trying to break the aero against Racing Chai. Now, it's in Racing's interest not to allow El Guri to get away here, because, of course, given the fact that he's on the softs, as now they go nearly wheel to wheel, heading out of turn 1. That was a bit of a surprise about El Guri just perhaps getting it a little bit wrong on the brakes, heading through towards turn 1, opening the door ever so slightly, and Racing Chai very nearly obliged to it as they head through in towards turn 4. Still no move from Racing Chai, just happy to stay in behind. He knows his chance will come as long as he stays within the delta, stays within the realms of DRS, so he can land a blow against El Guri. But that was a very surprise move heading out of turn 15.
Yeah, that was a very surprise move at the moment, and sometimes surprise move catches people unawares, and it's how you learn to deal with it as well. Sometimes people want to go for easy moves, but no, it's all about taking that risk. Obviously, one of the Alpha Tauris go off. That is Mr. Dale down in P7. I should say down in P7. He's doing a decent job in P7 right now, but he's lost a bit of grip on those mediums. But watch out for him later on this stint as the soft tyres start to degrade. Same with the likes of the two title protagonists, as well as the likes of Rob and Emphatic too, as they make their way through as well. But Racing Chai, just keep an eye on the gap a little bit. As soon as he goes for the move, this could be game on for Racing Chai. He's ahead of his championship rival now, Skyzy. He's now not got one car, but he's got 2 cars to worry about for position. He's got El Guri, who's on the softest rubber, and he's got Skyzy, who's closing him up in the championship as well. No one's going to make for the move just yet. Nope, I'm wrong. Racing Chai is going to go for the move to the right-hand side in towards turn number 1, and that is him done. But El Guri, I think, is going to get the DRS. Yes, he is. He's going to go side by side almost in towards turn 3. Could he get the landing towards turn number 4? He thinks about it. To the right-hand side. And look at it, Skyzy to the right-hand side as well. We wasn't expecting that from a Skyzy. He almost got the pair of them and caught them unawares. But El Guri keeps P1 from Racing Chai and Skyzy. Skyzy thought that the opportunistic move was there, but Racing Chai saw him coming, and Racing Chai stayed in P2. But El Guri, great defending from in there.
Well, Racing Chai was very nearly caught napping there, heading down through towards turn 4, and Skyzy trying to plumb for the overtake. Obviously, it's very, very tricky to go 3 wide heading through towards turn 4. There isn't necessarily enough should we say, leeway heading through that section, and especially leading through the slalom. So it was very smart that they managed to back out the way they did, but a big moment no less. Them SkyZ just firing that warning shot, but obviously, as a result, has lost a little bit in behind it. Rasin Chai in second place. It is now 7/10 plus, but he's now working hard to try and rein that gap in. The only difference between those that are in the top three is that, of course, El Rey Guri is on the soft, so therefore holds the lead of the race. Those on the mediums are further back there in second and third as we now ride on board here with Noiguera. His teammate currently at the head of the field. Noiguera will be looking to try and perhaps even raise the stakes as far as he's concerned as well. So sharing a similar strategy to his teammate. So they'll be communicating, I'm sure, in a bid to try and avoid the double stacks that could yet occur later on in this race. Obviously, we're not accounting for safety cars at this point. Meraki up into 11th as well, managing to jump ahead of Peya in this early stage. So 8 laps in, and Meraki has already gained 9 places.
And that is why he's the Creator Series champion. He wants that challenge. He wants to see what he could do from where he was on the grid, and he's almost in the top 10. He's doing really well on those soft compounder tyres. The first time he's been on the softs for this race, and he's another driver that likes Bahrain, so it's not going to be very long before he catches up to Tom 97. I can't wait to see them battling between the pair of them, and that's Curbs, I think, on the back of Peya, and we also got Matty D as well that wants to join the party as well. We got Peya that is SkyZ's teammate, and we got Curbs. Oh, a bit of a lock up there going in towards turn 10. Very, very hard to get the car stopped, but he just about made it in time as well. It's very hard to overtake heading towards turn number 11 as well. But look at this, we got Curbs, who's right near the back of Peya, and we got Peya who's in a Williams sandwich, and Matty D there as well. Someone's gone off in the background, not quite sure who that was. That was Taco Man that's had a moment.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It looks like he's had a bit of a moment indeed. 15th place with Matty D now able to build a gap that is 1.3 to the good ahead of the Haas. As now we see the other Haas of Rob making his way down the straight now. Noiguera trying to break out of the aero in a bid to try and, I suppose, avoid a potential overtake with Rob in behind. Of course, Mr. Dale in the mix of all this. Tom 97 making moves on Infratic as that guy Vince goes down the inside of Zafso as well for that P4 spot. The crucial thing about that is, of course, that guy Vince will sacrifice the gap between he and SkyZ a little more. It's 1.7 now between P3 and 4, and now this will open the door potentially for Zafso to retake that 4th place and then perhaps land a blow of his own against the Red Bull.
Yes, Zafso is pretty much in a position where we expect him to be, and he's always in that round about 4th place, 5th place mark, and he wants to be that consistent person as well, and he always likes to get involved in battles. If he's not in the battle sometimes, he doesn't like it. The Creator Series is all about having fun. And something happened, George. What happened?
Noiguera getting it all wrong, heading through towards turns 9 and 10. Looked like he managed to save it, but by the skin of his teeth, of course, he came in a little too hot when chasing after Zafso, and unfortunately, the car escaped from underneath him, and now it looks like Rob is piling on the pressure as they now rise up through turn 12. A massive moment here at this point in the race, and could be a one-way ticket here to him being demoted down to 7th. If Rob can get a decent exit, a great opportunity on the cards as we now have yellow flags in the middle sector. I think Patterson has had a moment as well as we now see the cars venture through the final 2 corners here, soon to begin their lap 10 of 57. And heading down now towards turn 1. Great chance for Rob now against Noiguera to take advantage of the moment. El Rey Guri now under pressure as now Rasin Chai holds place at the front end, nearly making contact as SkyZ tap the back of the Mercedes, and El Rey Guri maintaining that 2nd place, but SkyZ's coming straight back at him. The McLaren and the Sauber coming together through towards turn 4, wheel to wheel, as they now stay side by side. SkyZ with the momentum, superior momentum, heading through the middle sector. 5, 6 and 7, Papaya superior here at Sakhir.
What a move from SkyZ, which I think just goes to show that the softs are pretty much not at the best operating window for the likes of El Rey Guri. You could tell that the mediums are potentially the best tyre to be on. It's hard to tell what the tyre wear is because we can't see it in the commentary box, but we could tell that El Rey Guri is just losing a bit of grip right now, so we'll have to wait and see what he can do on that front as well. His tyre temperatures are running pretty decent as well. He's got the likes of that guy Vitz that'll be closing up soon, and that guy Vitz is already catching up to Safso. So could this be the case that the softs are degrading earlier than expected, George?
Well, who knows? I mean, obviously, we're only on lap 10 at this point, and naturally, there will be some great questions launched with regards to the strategy, and obviously, the one man that is going to affect mostly in that top 3 is going to be El Reguri. He has got to make a decision. He's not escaping anybody at this point. He's just kind of hanging in there, as we now see that guy Vince. Now, as we see a battle for the lead as well, once again, MSkyZ taking the lead away from Rasin Chai. So now not only answering back to El Reguri, he now takes the lead of the race away from the Mercedes. The 2 championship leaders now looking to do battle, and Rasin backing off, happy to stay within the aero of the McLaren. A major moment nonetheless, as we saw as well earlier. That guy Vince moving ahead of Zapsa once again as those 2 dueling out here at Sakir. And heading down now in towards turn 8. MSkyZ in front has driven superbly. Rasin Chai now down to 2nd place, but seemingly happy and content just to wait for his own moment to come, as now El Reguri pictures himself in behind. It might come to be now that the mediums and the softs start to cross over very, very soon. Of course, we have 57 laps of racing here at Bahrain. I'd probably say the softs could probably last up until around lap 15, I'd say.
I think that was around about the time where people on the softs went into the pits in the real-life F1 race, apart from if you're Max Verstappen. I think that's predicted pit stop time. And there are some different strategies in play here as well. And we will see what everyone else does very soon.
Yeah, we certainly will. Heading down the straight now, and MSkyZ will open up the DRS. Heading down the long straight, or should I say Rasin Chai will open up the DRS on MSkyZ as they head down towards turn 1. And there is far too much track for Rasin Chai to stay in behind. Goes wheel to wheel, takes the race lead away again on lap 12 of 57. And running a bit wide again, El Reguri just losing tabs on the front 2. And left it very late on the brakes heading in towards turn 1. No doubt that's going to upset him quite a bit. Obviously, the one thing he does have in his favour is that guy Vince is obviously 2.3 seconds behind. Tom 97 on the drive of his life, trying to fight it out against Noiguera. Those 2 coming together. Tom 97, though, moving up from 10th place all the way up to 7th spot. So now he's up 3 places from where he started. Rasin Chai, though, certainly is delivering a decent race so far. A clean overtake to begin lap 12 of 57 to retake that advantage ahead of MSkyZ. But now they're looking to clear. What has happened to El Reguri? Has he had a moment? 3.3 away from MSkyZ, and has also lost time to that guy Vince. Dramatic scenes here. Are the softs now starting to lose time? And there's damage to that Sauber car as well. So something has happened to El Reguri here, Jess. Dramatic scenes at Bahrain.
Hopefully we'll get a bit of an idea of what happened earlier on with El Reguri. That is very, very unfortunate as well. I think the end plate is definitely gone, and Safso and Rob are trying to catch up to him as well. So maybe the softs weren't the best tyre for him at this point, which is a shame because he was doing so well.
Yeah, I think that's a shocker, and into the pits, no surprise already. In comes El Reguri, side by side now between Rob and Safso as they now head down in towards turn 1, as we now see them go wheel to wheel here on lap 13 of 57. SkyZ still out in front now as he has now displaced Rasin Chai in the process. That guy Vince holding on to 3rd. Rob now with Safso very nearly going side by side and very nearly making contact as well, but they still survive. And Rob in 4th place, wheel to wheel between the two. Between the Ferrari and the Sauber car as Noiguera and Infratic go wheel to wheel. So the Portuguese looking to try and hold on to P8. I think he's done so. Noiguera now relegated to 9th. Meraki gaining on this bunch as well. He's only 3.1 behind. Remember, he was in 20th place where he started. He is now halfway towards the front.
Just look at the gap he's closing in lap after lap for Meraki. If these guys keep scrubbing, that is what's going to happen, as we got Dale and Safso going side by side in towards the back straight, in towards turn number 11. We'll see what they can do. Dale is ghosted on my end. I hope it's not just me.
No, I don't think so. Casper, the friendly ghost, has certainly afflicted Mr. Dale. As now we're
they're
seeing
fine now.
Both he and Safso now fighting it out, heading through the latter sector. Now, once again, seems to be a bit of a spar-off happening here between Infratic and Safso as well. So a very, very busy latter top 10 as they come together in Fratic in the Prancing Horse. Looking to try and gain on those ahead of him now. Zafso there in that 7th place. Now opens up the door. He comes into the pits, in fact. So a decisive moment for the Aston Martin. Yet another pit stop. Noiguera comes into box as well. And I want to throw it across to you, Scott. What's the latest?
Yes, looking at El Rey, I will tell you exactly what happened. He has had a very unfortunate part of the race, lap 12, coming in to famous turn 3. He just gets on this curve, loses the grip, goes straight into the wall, takes half his wing off, on orange damage I should say, and that is going to be a massive, massive challenge for him to overcome. You can see he's gutted.
Yeah, I think obviously that's the key moment, I think, as far as he's concerned, and has a very detrimental factor to his race, because remember, he's on that soft tyre strategy to kick things off. So naturally, that could put an end to what could have been a really brilliant day for El Reiguri. But who knows? A lot can happen in the Creator Series. We have had safety cars in the past. Yellow flags being raised once again already. I think Patterson has had another moment heading out of turn 1. And I think he's right at the back of the grid. I think he's managed to recover, though, so looking okay as you now join us here on lap 14 of 57. That guy Vince being hunted down now by Tom97, who has had such an incredible stint so far. Obviously, his cars have come into the pits. We saw him move up to 7th. He's now up to 5th and right on the tail of that guy Vince. The question is, will that guy Vince be that guy that Tom97 overtakes as they head into the final 2 corners here on lap 14 of 57 now? The Alpine looking to try and rescue that turn of foot, heading down through towards turn 1. He'll have the DRS, as will Vince. The question is there a potential double overtake in the offing? Could Rob lose 2 places? I think he might. And now Tom looks to gamble on gaining 2 places. Wheel to wheel now with Vince as they now rub real right to front left as they come together out of turn 3. Tom97 undenied, unperturbed. He's going to fight onwards now as the Alpine and the Red Bull make their way towards turn 4. Tom97, a heroic move down the inside on the hards, and has managed to move to 3rd in the space of 1 solitary sector. And there's the difference in the tyres. Mere nil difference. It has to be said. The hards now coming into play here in this race, and a little tap in the back of Tom97 for his troubles as well, Jess.
What did I say for Tom97? I know he was lower down before, but just wait until later on. And look what he was able to do. Make that move stick. He is loving those hard tyres right now, and that's really going to help him for the rest of this run. And we've got some replays coming up very, very soon. But Tom97, he's still not, well, he's still going to be on the cusp of potentially in a shot of a podium. Don't count him out, I should say. I was trying to think of the words there, to be honest, as well. That guy Vince and Rob battling with each other as well. The only one who's on the soft tyres is Curbs. He's still yet to box, as we can see one of the Alpines having a bit of a battle with Takaman as well. And we saw yellow flag. Oh, there's lots of battles going on the exit of turn 11, as we got Takaman, who is trying to defend from Matty D and Hoodie Pete. We've seen Matty D, Hoodie Pete fight in F2. Takaman is on the bubble potentially getting into the playoffs, but he's definitely doing what he can to try and get as many points as possible. Curves finally goes into the pits, George.
Yep, Curbs coming into the pits. And I want to send it across to the man with a plan. It's F1 Scott. Scott, what have you got for us?
I'm here and I'm looking at Patterson, and it's just not his day. Quite an unusual mistake for him, but as you can see, loses the grip basically the moment he starts to turn the car. If anything, even before he turns. Quite unusual, but sometimes when it's just not your day, these things just go from bad to worse.
He's been watching too much Vin Diesel, I think it has to be said. But there we go, that explains it. Patterson, everybody, with more moves than Bruno Mars, I think, at this case. But yeah, so now seeing that guy Vince. What have you not seen? I can't remember the name of the song now. Uptown Funk. What a song.
I have seen Uptown Funk. Yeah, it's one of his best songs.
I could see Patterson doing something like that. Extraordinary.
Yes.
As you know, see the Saubers making their way out of turn 8. Noiguera coming to terms now with El Reiguri. Zafso in the top 10. And we're now also seeing up at the sharp end, Tom97 trying to rein in the delta. Remember, of course, displacing that guy Vince. 6.1 seconds now between Tom97 and Racing Chai. This is such a key moment in the stint now for Tom97, of course, because if he can gain some of those seconds, some of those vital that bit of delta that will go a long way. But the problem is now is that guy Vince has got the DRS, and he is going to prove to be a very tricky driver to beat. Now, if I'm honest here, Jess, the smartest thing both of these guys can do is work with each other. Try and DRS their way to the back of Rasin Chai.
I wonder if that's what Tom is doing right now as well. And maybe that's the downside of Tom the Bomb not being here today. Obviously, he has an important reason to do so, but usually if Tom 97 and Tom are in a party, they communicate as to when they're going to get the DRS for each other if they're nearby. If they're not teammates, for Vince and Tom, it's going to be very, very tricky to do so as well. But they can't afford to lose that much time. If you gain on DRS, that's where you gain the time. If you don't have DRS, that's where you lose the time. And Vince is starting to fall away. We've got Rob and Emphatic gaining as well. Dale too. Tom needs to get a move on here as well, as his mistake at the bat. Vince is struggling a little bit, and Tom is trying to capitalise on that. So is Rob. Turn 10 is always a tricky beast in these F1 cars, especially with these F1 23 cars. It's going to be tight for them to catch up, because look at the gap that Rasin Chai and Skyzy, they are on another level.
Yeah, Rob was right on the limit coming through turn 10 as well, and you could just hear the banging that was going on in between Tom 97's rear of his Alpine and Tom's front of the Haas that he's driving as well. There is Rasin Chai as they now make their way down the long straight, and Patterson, they're just catching up with him now. So Mercedes is about to meet Mercedes as the pit window opens now for Rasin Chai. And as a result, no doubt, he's going to want to try and lead heading into the pits. So the big question is, does he look to now make that crucial overtake on M Skyzy? As now Rob goes wheel to wheel with Tom 97 and manages to take fourth away from the Alpine. Here comes Rasin Chai, DRS open, has a look down the inside, not looking to break or stay within the aero, just trying to break out of it, trying to cool down the engine at the same time, the compound of tyres. Dirk Chocolate comes into the pits as well. There's Tom 97, fresh off the back of losing out to Rob in the Haas, who is now looking to try and move up on that guy Vince. Lots going on, though, in this portion of the race. I do want to say this, though, as we see Zapso going wheel to wheel with what looks to be El Rey Guri heading down towards turn 4. Aston Martin meets the Sauber Alfa Romeo car. Oh, just look at that. Very nearly close to contact. I think just a hair's breadth from contact, in fact. And El Rey Guri managing to take that P9 away. Matty D13 and El Taco Man also dueling it out on track. But important to note here that whilst Tom 97 has lost a few places from the likes of that guy Vince and Rob, obviously he's the only one on the hard tyres really in that fight. So he can afford to wait a little longer, Jess.
Yeah, he can afford to potentially maybe even do a one-stop potentially as well. That's potentially something that was on the cards in real life, but it was harder to do a one-stop there. But with these cars on this game, it can be possible. But we know how important fresh tyres is around it. If you're on fresher tyres, no matter what tyre you're on, even if you're on the hard compound of tyres, there's people that's going to catch up to you. So Thomas got to think about it ASAP. We do have some battles near where the likes of Mr. Dale and Emphatic. Dale is looking like he's had a good race so far. He can't quite get past Emphatic just yet. They're going to sit patiently. We got more pitters. Luke Horick in the Ferrari has come into the box from his service medium tyres. And Dale's going to get the DRS. Is he going to make the move past Emphatic? Nope, he is not. The DRS train is ranging for the likes of Mr. Dale to Rob in 4th place. And also Vince too. So this is a fight for the podium on track. But bearing in mind, there's some people that have made their stops that could come into play as well. We also got some battles in the background between P12 and P13 too. Takaman versus Matty D side by side in towards turn number 4. Can Matty D try and make the move stick? Heavy on the brakes is a heavy braking zone. Yes, he does. Matty D is up at the 12 and at the moment going to score some decent points.
Yeah, fantastic move from Matty D. Oh, no, he's round. Goodness me, we saw the front wing fly off the front end of El Taco Man's car as well. Peya should pick him up, but Matty D rear-ended coming out of what looked to be turn 7 in towards turn 8. And unfortunately for him, has unfortunately spun off the track, lost positions, and at the same time, El Taco Man with some significant damage to the front wing. We saw the end plate piece flying off, and Peya has made short work of making his way past him as well to boot. You can just see the difference it's made to Taco Man's car. He is losing so much time as well. Further back, we have some pit lane activity because that guy Vince comes in as does Rob. So Tom 97 now moves up to third. Obviously was aware that they were coming into the pits. So Tom able to wait and be a little bit more patient. But we're going to head across to Scott, who has got some news and can give us a reaction to Matty D's moment.
Yeah, exactly. We're all on board with Taco Man. I know we did see from the other end. It's very unfortunate, but it's definitely going to ruin both of their races. As we can see, he's just getting very close. Matty just breaks a little bit earlier than Taco thinks. There's nothing he can do. He has orange wing damage. He's going to have to overtake, and yeah, for both of them, just extremely unfortunate. It's just this sort of thing when someone just breaks that millisecond before you think it is right, and there you go, damage.
Yeah, it's unfortunate there. Great insight as always, Scott. Thank you so much. Obviously a big moment for both drivers, and whilst obviously there was no spin for El Taco Man, he will be serving time in the pit lane, which in itself costs him needless time anyway, Jess.
Yeah, I think he would have been up there in P12 if he didn't have that contact, but now he's going to be having a lot to live up to at this stage as well. Usually when you're involved in incidents, sometimes you're at the heat at the moment, and sometimes it's best to think, oh, I give up, I should retire. You need to let that forget you what's on your mind and focus on the race ahead, and that is what Matty D is going to be doing. Meanwhile, Rob is past Vince up into 10th spot. He's chasing down the likes of Meraki very soon, and when he's going to go on to fresh tyres. But we've got some more pitters. We've got Emphatic in and Mr. Dale in from their medium compounded tyres, which just leaves the top three going into the box as well. But Rob makes his way through the final two corners with Vince and Peya chasing him down as well. Rob, who's been making his name in the F2 series, is fighting with the big guns in the F1 series, and he's doing very, very well. But Vince is going to chase him down, heading towards turn number 1. Can he do it? Well, the answer to that, Vince, is yes.
Yeah, fantastic move from that guy, Vince. Another driver I want to touch on as well is El Guri. Now, whilst, of course, he did have that issue earlier on that led to him having to box earlier than most, he only actually boxed, technically, a lap before many of those that boxed onto the medium tyres off the softs. Now, the different approach he took was boxing onto the hards. Now, he holds the fastest lap of the race on this compound, and he's done a cracking job of closing the gap to Tom 97 ahead of him here. So whilst they continue to remain out on track, El Guri could be the unlikely foe for everybody up in the sharp end. So let's wait and see whether he can make this strategy work for himself, because the lap times have certainly been in his favour. His last lap was a 1:33.4, which in actual fact was 1.4 seconds faster than anyone else in the top three.
I have to say, that is very, very insane. You've got to improve it consistently like that, and that is definitely what he's showing at the moment. But Razinchai goes for another move once again. They are DRSing each other. That is what they're doing, and that is why the gap is so much compared to the likes of these two and Tom 97 and potentially El Guri as well. But don't forget, these two have still got to pit. They're managing their medium tyres like they're on the hard compounded tyres. They know what to do to make their tyres perform better in this, and this is what we could see maybe in the F124 game as well. We got some more moves happening in the background with Rob again. He's got past Vince. I think they're definitely trying to DRS each other as well to chase him down too. Meraki, though, in P6, is looking like he's got the job done on Nogueira. Yes, he does. He's up to 6, George.
Yeah, coming out of turn 4, Meraki managing now to go into 6th place and moves ahead of Nogueira, who has also had a fantastic run as well. He is now part of the train that is being led by El Guri, and they may as well sit behind him as well, because obviously if you're Zafso, if you're not putting the tyres to work, you can just run off the DRS you're getting fed from El Guri. Now, it's important to note that obviously El Guri on the hards, 9-lap-old hards for El Rey. Everyone behind him right now as part of this train are on the medium compounded tyres. So, and what I will suggest as well, only a lap younger, should I say, medium tyres have Sasso got. So obviously their tyres are going to dissipate more and quicker than what El Rey's are. So, I mean, we've got to note as well that the hard tyres on the F1 game are actually decent race tyres in actual fact. So I don't think this is going to work out too badly here for El Rey. As into the pits comes the leaders. M Sky Z boxing. So now Tom 97 will take the overall lead of the race. Now, where will El Rey Guri come out in all this? This is the interesting factor, because obviously, if he's able to jump them or get somewhere close, then his stint has been unbelievable. And look at this, amazing! El Rey Guri managing to come out into second. All those laps, the additional delta he has managed to plough on despite the incident, which cost him a place in the top 3. He has now managed to take P2 out on track, and he's on those hard tyres as we now see them come through towards turn 4. In comes Noiguera, Meraki in 5th. He was battling it out with Racing Chai, heading out through the first sector, but Racing, keenly enough, stuck behind Safso, and El Rey Guri just in front of them.
Wow, wow, wow. El Rey Guri's undercut helped him there to make sure he was ahead of the likes of Racing Chai and Skyzy. Skyzy was the one who definitely lost the most out of this one because Meraki and Noguera passed him. The undercut is powerful now, but watch out for Skyzy and Racing Chai in maybe 3 or 4 laps' time as they try to get past a few people. Take that with a pinch of salt. Skyzy up into 6th place. He's chasing down more cars, so it's not over for him yet. Racing Chai, Racing Chai's hit the back of Saf, so that was very, very tight. I hope that wasn't damaged there, but that's how going to stretch the gap for El Rey Guri's sake. But Racing Chai gets past Saf, so anyway, and Racing Chai's up to 3rd, but that could have been curtains for them. Skyzy, on the other hand, gets past Meraki up to 5th. The championship protagonists, are catching up. But here comes Racing Chai on El Rey Guri. This is a battle that we've been looking for. Racing Chai is now up into 2nd spot on those set of soft compounded tyres. It took a while for him to get past. And look at El Rey Guri. El Rey Guri's took advantage of Raz's mistake there.
He certainly did. He did a little more than that. He actually managed to reclaim the DRS, and also at the same time put his car in front. Racing Chai on the softs, who's trying to bully his way past El Rey Guri. Can't quite do it. It looks like the Spanish god has managed to withstand the pressure and has stayed in front of Racing Chai for that 2nd place. These two fighting it out in the first sector. Fantastic battle, fantastic scrap. El Rey Guri knows he can't let Racing Chai get through because he'll disappear on the soft compound of tyres.
Yep, indeed. And you can tell that Racing Chai is hungry for it. He knows that this mistake is going to come back to bite him. But he's going to take some risks now. He doesn't care that it's around turn number 11. He's got the job done anyway. Skyzy's going to try and do exactly the same on Saf, so he does that as well. And I think that's what I like about Racing Chai. It did not affect him one bit, the mistake that he made. He just now got to focus on the rest of this one. He can't afford to make the same mistake again in towards turn number 1 because El Rey Guri could take advantage of that. We'll see if Racing Chai pulls away that gap from El Rey as well. And Skyzy's going to try and do exactly the same thing, which he does. And Skyzy is up into into 3rd place right now. Net P2 because Tom still yet to box. El Rey Guri still got to have the DRS though, which is going to be so powerful around here. He hasn't got much ERS to use though, so he's got to be careful and think about when to use it. And heading towards turn number 1, you can see the cornering speed on El Rey Guri is absolutely amazing. He can't afford to push too much though, because he's still got another stop to make. Those hards may not get to the end of this Grand Prix, whereas Racing Chai and Skyzy will have to make one more stop too. So it's going to be maybe an even ketting for these two, but we know the fresher tyres on F123 is so much more powerful at this stage.
Yeah, well, El Rey Guri's concerned now. He's got to stay with Racing Chai and Skyzy. It is so integral. Skyzy has just gone purple in the first sector. I've got to give El Rey Guri credit where credit's due because he is only 3/10 off in the first sector. Remember, Skyzy on brand new softs, El Rey Guri on, should we say, reasonable hard tyres. He's only mustered 12 laps on them, but he knows how imperative these laps are. He's going to have to hold on to these hards for a long period of time, and he needs to try and stay within DRS for as long as possible as well. Obviously, the way things are currently strung out, Tom97 still currently hanging out with 4.1 seconds spare right at the front end. Incredible stuff. And just to bring you in as well, Scott, you reported no damage on Racing.
Yep, definitely. Although he's not been too happy with the fight that's going on, he was on those softer tyres, and he felt that maybe it was a bit unnecessary for the hard driver to be trying to keep the front. But if I'm in El Rey's position, I really can't let the soft tyres get ahead of him. But alas, here we are.
Yeah, can you see the reasoning though? Obviously with El Rey Guri, I think obviously this is such an important stint for him. I think he just wanted to try and stay in tow with the softs, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, exactly. You can understand from both of the drivers' positions. Obviously, Razin really fighting for this championship, doesn't want anything to go wrong. Also, going back to Razin, he was extremely lucky to not get that damage off Savso. The incident definitely looked like it was hard enough to give damage. Not fortunate.
Brilliant insight there. Thank you very much. And yes, Savso and Meraki coming together as well. Nogueira very nearly going into the back of Meraki as they make their way out of turn 7 in towards turn 8. But very well rescued by the Williams driver. But these three now battling it out in the middle sector, heading down in towards turns 9 and 10. And Savso will lead them through, and you just see the stream of lock-up smoke that's coming off the back, and that just goes to show how hot these cars are running in towards that turn 10 section as Meraki now goes down the inside of Savso. What a race Meraki is having, obviously trying to convert the P20 start into a big result, and obviously has already made his stop, currently donning the medium tyres as he now hustles his way around the next right-hander out of turn 12 and turn 13. 11 laps accrued on this compound. He boxed after lap 14 on the softs, and he'll be boxing again later on, I am sure. We're on lap 26 of 57. Still not quite near the halfway point, but we won't be too far away from it as now the cars stream their way down through towards turn 1 yet again on this new lap. Nogueira now with his strong straight line speed, who was impressive in qualifying, looking to try and score his biggest points finish of the season. Still not out of the question because, of course, we've spoken about his results and what he's capable of. He has achieved great things in the past in the Creator Series. I'm sure there's lots more he could achieve as well as he now hustles down towards turn 4 this time. Important to note, though, Tom 97's time at the front end, he has got a penalty as well, Jez. 3 seconds to be exact after attributing 3 warnings, and he's ahead of Rasin Chai, but that gap is already down to 1.3.
That's really going to hinder Tom 97 because everyone else around him has hardly got any warnings or penalties. So Tom has really got to get the hammer down at this stage as well. It is not one of those tracks where it's easy to get penalties, but when you get penalties, it hits you hard. And Tom 97 would definitely not want a safety car at the end of the race, at least. As Skyzy goes for the net race lead of this Grand Prix in towards turn 11. And that was very, very tidy from Skyzy as well. I don't think Rasin Chai was expecting that. This could be make or break in terms of the championship. We'll obviously keep you updated. At the moment, it will go down to the final race because of how close these two guys are. But you never know what could happen in the Creator Series. And this is why those two are right at the front there, chasing them down too. I believe Skyzy is about to lap one of the lapped cars. And we do, and we have Tom 97, who is about to lap Patterson as well. Tom 97 staying out again. He's definitely going for the one stop, isn't he?
Yeah, he certainly is. I think he's trying to carry this strategy right through. 27 laps accrued on these hard tyres, but he's going to come under threat now from MSkyZ and also Rasin Chai in behind. El Guri still with 5 seconds to find, but remember, he is on hard tyres as well. And with those on the softs further up, they're looking to now batter past Tom 97 wheel to wheel through the slalom. Very brave through this section now, and Tom 97 looked like he was going to try and potentially switch back here. He still might, heading through towards turn 8. Had a look down the inside as Skyzy took full advantage. Very brave heading through towards turns 5, 6 and 7. And Rasin knows he can't let him get away. Round the outside as they go late on the brakes in towards turn 10. Fabulous racing. Fabulous bravery. They took their advantage, picked their spot. Skyzy now with the lead. Rasin Chai in second still.
Skyzy and Rasin Chai definitely needed to do that. They didn't want to be held up with Tom 97 for that long, especially since Tom 97 has been on those hard tyres since the very start. He's the only driver yet to stop at all in this race. Of course, you have to make at least one mandatory stop, otherwise the game will disqualify you. But it's Skyzy that leads on track and your net race leader, and Rasin Chai in P2. Who will come out on top at the end remains to be seen. We're almost halfway into this race. We've got lots of other battles brewing as well that we want to draw our attention to. How will Savso do against Meraki? How will Nogueira, Rob and Vince do as well in the background, as well as Emphatic and Dell? Look at that train from the likes of Savso all the way down to the likes of Mr. Dow, which you're riding on board with at the moment. We've got Nogueira, on the other hand, in that DRS train, trying to get past Savso, which he does, and he's up into P6. The Alfa Romeos, the Saubers, as I should say, I should call them Saubers now, are doing really, really well. And Meraki stuck in a Sauber sandwich, as it were. Meraki, though, doesn't want to be in a sandwich for very longer. Meraki's up into 4th place. Imagine this, from last to 4th at the moment. He's doing very well on those medium tyres, making it last for such a long time. And he's doing very well in the championship too as well. Can he try and close in on the turn Tom 97 now? That is going to be his next challenge.
Yeah, well, Meraki now 6 seconds to find, and on the medium tyres, no less, stopped and has already managed to attribute 14 laps to them. El Reguri on that hard tyre stint could still yet batter back against Meraki using the DRS. You won't want to get away from, or let the Williams get away from him, should I say. Of course, El Reguri still with a chance of holding points within the top 5, but it's going to be a little tricky, of course, as they now hurtle through towards turn 12 and turn 13. Tom 97 now 2.2 down away from Rasin Chai. Won't be long before I'm sure he thinks of pitting at some point. And, of course, will decisively, I'm sure, go on to the medium tyres if he looks to try and utilise the one stop. I think, though, he's going to have to take those hard tyres distinctly longer as we now see the queue of cars now. This, of course, being made up of Zafso, Rob, that guy Vince, of course, being led by Noiguera as well further up as we can now see them making their way down towards turn 1. There's Rob now once again, this time Safso opening the door on Noiguera. They're going to go 3 wide heading in towards turn 1 as well, and Rob is going to try to go wheel to wheel with Safso. I think he'll have his nose in front and the whole car's width in front as well. Also coming in is that guy Vince, who had every chance and opportunity to take the place. Switches back as we take a rear view from the back of Rob's car, and that guy Vince, the ultimate opportunist in that affair. Safso loses out again, this time to Infratic. The perfect move from the perfect Portugueser who heads through the slalom at turns 5, 6 and 7. The Scuderia shouting jubilance as he takes P8.
And look at Dale as well. He's also passed Safso, so Safso is struggling on his tyres there too. And Dale at the moment in the top 10. And watch out for the likes of Emphatic, Dale, Rob and Vince. They've got much better tyres compared to Noguera, so, and the likes of El Reguri and Meraki, so they've got to get past ASAP as well. This is going to be a very intense fight, and I can't wait to see how this goes as well. And I'm interested to see why Safso is struggling a little bit like this. He is dropping a bit to Mr. Dale, so I wonder if there was contact being made from there. But I have to say, Rob and Vince holding their own up there. They're still running close to each other as well, and we do know how the toe can be quite powerful around it, so we'll see what Vince could do at the next DRS straight as they make their way towards the final few corners. So here we go then. Vince is going to get on the power nice and early. He's not got much DRS left, but we've got Skyzy and Razin Chai still fighting for the lead. This could go on for the rest of this race too. Is Razin Chai able to take advantage of Sky Z? The answer to that is no. And I think Tom 97 is struggling to keep hold of El Reguri. That's going to be, I think, the interesting test as well. But that is actually El Reguri on Meraki, my bad. It's hard to tell. There's so much going on.
Well, Meraki, unfortunately, losing out to one El Reguri, who once again is fighting it out here against the current Creator Series champion, who's still occupying the medium tyres. 16 laps accrued now on these. Now, what I will suggest here again, El Reguri looking so strong on those hards. They're coming into play, and he's making all the right moves here at this point. Obviously, El Reguri, I do wonder whether he can take these the distance, given the fact that we are in a position where we have approximately 26 laps left to go of racing. As we now see the cars now make their way up the hill very shortly, rising up through turn 11, soon to be turn 12. Meraki now P5. Of course, it's all about trying to gamble and make some big decisions in order to try and maximise your opportunity. Speaking of opportunity, Mr. Dale will have an opportunity against Infratic if he carries on. He made a move past Noiguera not too long ago. Now he's in P9. And Mr. Dale on the rise has had a fantastic race so far. Only 10 laps on the mediums. And I'll put this to you. Mr. Dale has a great chance of taking some major points here at the Bahrain race.
Yeah, loads of points to be won or lost here, especially if those people are on the bubble for potentially losing out on their seat as well. But there could be spots to be decided in the top 3 as well. As here comes Meraki on Rob, who are fighting for positioning. Rob almost got past Meraki in towards turn 3. Now he's going to get the run in towards turn number 4. He's used a bit of battery as well. He goes to the right-hand side. Can Rob try and get past? A bit of contact made from the two drivers, but Rob says, see you later, my friend. Rob's up to 5th, and he's now going to chase down El Rey Guri. He has misplaced the ones who are much older tyres, and he's got a bit of a gap to that guy Vince as well. That guy Vince now follows them through, and he's going to chase him down too. So does Emphatic. Meraki's tyres are absolutely dying around the circuit of Sakir right now, heading towards turn number 10. Dale's almost trying to do the same, but he can't do it. The older tyres for Meraki is starting to fade away, unfortunately. Rob, is he going to do the same on El Rey Guri? Nope, he's not.
No, well, I tell you what, Meraki, unfortunately, a comedy of errors that has now led to him dropping down to P8, and Rob, who took the ultimate gamble heading in towards turn 1, and it pulled off for him heading through out of turn 3 down towards turn 4. So Rob now on the back of El Rey Guri with that guy Vince sending it in towards turn 8, opening up the door. It was a fantastic move, and then Fratic was able to follow them all through, and he's also having a fantastic race alike as well, as we now see them coming through the final corners once again. El Rey Guri in 4th. Rob, who has already pulled off the big moves at turn 1 already. He did it to Meraki. Now it's the turn of the Sauber Alfa Romeo as Ala Haas comes through. The F2 championship leader now ascends into 4th place, looking for a career series spot. That guy Vince looks to try and pull off the same follow through that he did on Meraki only a few short, well, 1 lap ago as they look to go wheel to wheel. The Red Bull now down the inside, heading in towards turn 4. Between he and the Sauber, the Alfa Romeo looks to try and batter back, looking to defend the place that Meraki couldn't a lap ago, but indeed he did. And El Rey Guri with more mental fortitude, obviously, to try and hold on to that P5.
Sorry, I was on mute, and now that I was on mute, Vince had just had a spin.
Well, that guy Vince having a big moment there. P8 in that offing now, and he's dropping down through the field. A major moment for the Red Bull, and has now found himself. And Luke Howick has also spun as well, so yellow flags littered throughout the circuit. Big dramatic moments here so far. Absolutely incredible scenes here, and now Luke Howick has got to try and rebuild himself. Meraki now 3/10 away from Fabio, in Fratic in P6, who is now 1.1 seconds behind El Rey Guri now. So Fabio losing oodles of time here, and Meraki is going to take full opportunity because he will have DRS, but he's not the only one. Look who's come to join the party. It's Mr.
Hello.
Dale, who has now opened up that rear wing, heading down through towards turn 1. Of course, the rear light flashing now on Meraki's car, but it's not going to deter him from making the move. Jumps ahead of now in Fratic, heading through towards turn 1. Easy as you like. Even though the light's flashing, the DRS helped him on this occasion, but yet Infratic could come back at him. Heading down through towards turn 4. Wheel to wheel again, they'll go. Williams v Ferrari yet again. Like we saw in the early portion of this race, the Ferrari later on the brakes. It dared to brave, it dared to dream, and now Meraki looking to fight back through turns 5, 6 and 7. How many times have we seen it tonight? Wheel to wheel now between the pair of them. Meraki though manages to try and find his way through. Another switchback, this time from Fabio. Truly superb racing between two fantastic career series drivers. Here comes Fabio again, Infratic with a salacious move. Truly hellacious indeed. It's P6 for the prancing horse, and the Scarlet Red now emblazoned in P6. But here comes now, goodness me, Dale now in between them. The light flashing on the AlphaTauri, but it's now the Italian team from Faenza that are now sat in 7th place.
This is the Dale that we wanted to see for ages. He's literally getting this hard hooked. He's in control at the moment, but he's used a lot of VRS during that part of the lap as well. But this is just amazing stuff from them as well. They're keeping it clean. And if people are saying, oh, I can't make a move in turn 5, 6 and 7, well, these guys are definitely proving it. And it's going to be another move being made, maybe, for the likes of Mr. Dale Meraki. And despite Meraki being on much older tyres, he's going to go for it. But Mr. Dale goes to the right-hand side and gets past Infratic, but Infratic is like, no, you're not having any of that, and he's going to try and get past. Rob is also fighting El Rey Guri. El Rey Guri's got past him again, but Infratic's going to get past Dale once more as well. There's so much action going on. Infratic is up to 6th, and in the background as well, Dirk has just got past Curves, up to 13th. My oh my, there's so much action happening in just a few laps. And we also potentially have got a clip from Vince from the clip book, Scott.
Indeed, we have Vince. I did think at first he maybe spun out, but actually, as we look again, it's actually Infratic who we have been talking about having a good race. Maybe that guy Vince will not be thinking the same. As you can see in the rear wing, just comes in too fast, takes him right in the rear wing. Luckily for Fabio to not get damaged, and Vince loses a couple of spots.
That's unfortunate. His race has been so good as well, Scott, but there we go. Thank you for that. A great breathing moment for all of us after that chaotic moment heading through the middle sector. But yes, incredible. But still no swaps up at the front end because Rasin Chai still leads. M-Sky Z locked in behind in second. Tom 97 now 8.6 in third. El Rey Guri in fourth. 5.8. Rob then 4/10 in fifth as well. 1.5 seconds then back to Infratic, who is having his own race right now with Mr. Dale. In comes now El Rey Guri in for a pit stop, and obviously could not sustain the run on those hard tyres for too much longer. But the good news for him, Jess, is that he can now move on to mediums if he so wishes. And he has done.
Yep. Not really surprised, to be honest. Hey, I won't be surprised if he goes on to another 7 mediums too, because I do believe he has started on the soft compounder tyres. And here we go. Dale's going to try and go for another move again on Infratic, which he does. He's not going up without a fight, isn't he? He is definitely prancing on these guys. Dirt Chocolate trying to do the same on curves, which he does so. Pei has gone for something different. Pei has gone for the soft compounder tyres. Now, that is interesting. Do you think the softs could get to the end? I don't think so. But it's going to be close. Maybe you think that a late safety car potentially as well?
Well, if life gives you lemons, make lemonade. That is the going consensus in certain occasions. And obviously, he's going to try and make lemonade with the soft tyres that he has got now strapped to his car. Let's wait and see if he can achieve it. Mr. Dale, 5th place and 2.6 away from Rob. Infratic, though, trying to close the gap and trying to see if he can launch himself through to P5. Meraki just in behind this bunch as well. 15 laps accrued on their medium tyres. For the back, there is Meraki. Of course, leading through to this portion of the race. 21 laps accrued on his tyres, so no doubt they're starting to feel the pinch a little bit at this stage. And now he's under pressure from that guy, Vince, who is just in behind him. He's got considerably fresher tyres on his car as well as they head down through towards turn 1. And M-Sky Z coming straight into the pits. Here comes now Fabio as well on the attack of Mr. Dale in towards turn 1. The Ferrari now up into 4th as now Dale has to succumb to P5. Meraki now fighting it out with Vince, who manages to take the place away from the Williams as now they go side by side again. Meraki looking to fight back as now they head in towards turn 4. Red Bull v Williams now as they head through towards this near 90-degree right-hander. Luke Howick now jumping Dirk Chocolate as Dirk Chocolate pits now. The other Red Bull looking to opt for a fresh set of boots.
Yep, fresh set of medium tyres for Dirt Chocolate then. That will get him till the end of this Grand Prix. And he can stretch it for potentially 20 laps. So watch out for him to try and fight out for some final points. Matty D's also just pitted, and so is F1 Alex to try and get until the end of the Grand Prix. So most people are going to go for a 2-stop race so far. And bearing in mind, Meraki and O'Grell will be pitting anytime soon as well. The yellow flags are just for the lapped cars near the background. Pete's come into the pits too. They're all making their pit stops nice and early through this stint. We know how the undercut can be powerful here too. I think one of these guys are in that DRS trainee on board with now, with the likes of Emphatic Dale, Vince and Meraki. One of them will potentially get that early jump now. If I think it'll probably be either Meraki or Miguel on those older tyres. For the other guys, they'll try and stretch out for as long as they possibly can and then go for a set of softs. But if Meraki has got some mediums left, I won't be surprised if he can do so. And Vince has gone into the pits. I wasn't expecting him to go this early, but he wants to get that undercut, maybe for the likes of Ben Sky C as well. And he's going to go on to some soft tyres. He's following Paya's lead, George.
Well, this might make Meraki opt for a jump as well. Mr. Dale once again swapping with Infratic as they come out of turn 3. And they're going to go side by side down through towards turn 4 again. Infratic now taking the place back off Dale as they head through towards the next right-hander now. The two Italian teams coming together. They're going to go side by side into the slalom again. Paya now taking the fastest lap of the race. No surprise given the fact that he is on the softs. Though he had a very tricky start to his race as well. Just want to allude back to El Rey as a lockup from Mr. Dale, allowing Meraki through at that point. So a mistake from the AlphaTauri, allowing the Williams to take full advantage. And now Meraki moves into 5th and starts chasing down after Infratic.
Yep, it's going to be all game on towards this final half of the race, and we can already start to see Skyzy in this train now, and he doesn't want to be in traffic for any moment longer. This is not an ideal situation for him. He wanted to be in clear air to get advantage from Razin Chai, but now he's having to attack these guys as well, which is not ideal. He's got 3 cars in front of him, and he's got to get past a few cars at once. He's going to try and get past the first 2. He's got past Noguera. He's got to get past Dell and Meraki.
Oh,
Tom
dearie
97
me.
is in. He's doing his one stop, and he's going to try and go for a set maybe of the soft crop out of the tyres. Meraki's in. Rob's in. The ones who I was expected to come in has come in. And now Dow is on the fight for second place, but he's got Skyzy and Infrative fighting in the background as well. Skyzy's made a bit of contact as well. Oh,
And the history.
This is not what Skyzy wants. This is not what Skyzy wants.
No, goodness me, Skyzy's round. No, that's Infratic who he's come together with. Huge moments between those two. Skyzy, a huge moment. He's managed to rejoin the circuit, but has he got damage? That's the big question. Now, he was alluding to the history between Skyzy and Mr. Dale. It has, of course, been a vibrant one through the course of this championship, but we look back. Obviously, historically, they came together once before back at Brazil. And now this time, after a collision with Fabio coming out of turn 2 into turn 3, there was simply a coming together. I'm not quite sure what it entailed, though I have to tell you, that could have now put the blocks, the foundations in place with Razin Chai. And I'm going to throw it with the man, to the man of the hour, F1 Scott. Talk us through it.
Yes, I'm on Fabio's point of view at this minute. I will be able to get him Skyzy in a second. But yeah, very unfortunate as we see everyone coming down to turn 1. I had a feeling something might have went wrong here. Didn't think it would be this though. So we have Infratic to the outside. Takes this outside line. You can see the McLaren there. Just gets... It looks like he leaves enough space, but it looks like Skyzy just hits the side of his car, and they both go out with Fabio with no damage. I will check and update you guys if Skyzy has damage, but from looking at that point of view, I don't know what it is. I feel like Infratic wasn't really to blame. We can throw that back to you guys.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way, Scott. Thank you so much for the insight. So, I mean, obviously, we couldn't quite get a view, obviously, due to the generic nature of the cameras we generally have at Bahrain. But obviously, looking from the angles that Scott has supplied to us as Noguera comes into the pits as well to obviously change onto his set of tyres. He's also donning the soft compound. I mean, it does look that was the fault of Skyzy, just tapping the rear. I mean, it didn't look like that there was any drifting from Infratic whatsoever. I think he left enough space, as now we see Tom 97 looking to try and launch a charge on Infratic. His day is starting to get undone. It's getting worse for Infratic, and Tom 97, after boxing onto fresh medium tyres, the one stop is on, Jess, and this is when he'll look to try and muster in the gap between he and El Reguri, but don't forget he has got that penalty.
That penalty is probably not helping him, but where he is in 5th spot, it just showed how good he was on those hard compounded tyres, which I have to say is incredible. So he's going to try and hunt down the likes of El Reguri and Skyzy in the next couple of laps. He's going to be on the fresher tyres compared to everybody else, so he's in a decent position. The question is, there's one thing about trying to catch them, there's one thing on passing them, and there's one thing trying to make them 3 seconds clear in order to have it stand a very good chance. Skyzy has stayed out, so even if he's got damage, the damage hasn't hindered him at all.
Well, I'm hearing now that we do have the POV from Skyzy. Scott, over to you, my friend.
Yeah, I thought it'd be best to, just before we say it's Skyzy's fault, let's look at his point of view as well. I've not seen this, but it is ready. As we can see, a little bit of contact with Dale in front, who is fighting for his life. Do love to see that. Go Dale. As we see, coming into turn 2. Just almost looks like it just turns in, right? Like this, it seems like that's maybe a bit of a schoolboy error for Skyzy, who is in a championship battle, and honestly, he might look back and this is how he lost it, maybe.
Yeah, definitely, I think a defining moment. Just taking a look again at it, heading in towards turn 1. Obviously, we want to try and make sure that we get the full insight of this. Fabio with the line. Just 2 into 1, I think, just don't go. I think we're just classifying that as a racing incident.
I think so.
Right.
But obviously, we're not having shooters in Creator Series. That's not how we roll. But
well, no, I think if we call me devil's advocate, I would say, looking at it, it's, to me, it looks like just a moment where two drivers come together. I certainly don't think we can place the blame on either driver. Just they were both online. I mean, Skyzy, to be fair, I think Scott had every right to go down that route.
You can see just at that moment.
Yeah.
Just a little bit on that curb. Very unfortunate. I'd probably agree with you with that, George.
Yeah. Thank you, Scott.
Razin Chai is in the pit lane and is going onto the soft tyres to pull off a last charge to win this race and potentially have one hand on the trophy and increase that gap. We got Tom97, who's also going for some moves. He's passed El Guri up to 4th, and he just set the fastest lap of this race.
Yeah, incredible stuff. Obviously now, given the complexion here at this point, Racing now solidifying his position at the top end of the championship. Now, a reminder, folks, points will obviously coincide all the way down to P15, but Racing Chai picking up maximum points as we come into the closing stages of the championship. Obviously, the big major questions are, is he going to be able to solidify his place as the champion here in the Creator Series with these remaining rounds? Obviously, still many questions to be asked, but we do have to wonder whether this is Racing Chai's time.
Well, it is not over until it's over. We've seen many championships that they were very comfortable to take the championship win, but they tend to bottle it. So it's not over until it's over. But for Razin Chai, that's definitely going to give him some confidence as well. And it's just it's a bit of a shame that it come down to it, because without Skyzy having that moment, Skyzy would have been leading the race, which would have been huge for the championship. But now it's the other way around. And even though the gap is not going to be significant, the gap's going to increase even more, which is going to make Skyzy's chance of winning the title even more tricky, and he will have to outscore him next week by quite a lot. But the battle that we're watching right now is the likes of Emphatic and Dirt Chocolate going into battle, and it looks like they've been battling for quite a bit, as we got the likes of El Guri fighting with Tom97, and Tom97 almost at the edge there going in towards turn number 2. He's going to try again with the DRS, and look at this, he's got the warning light on his dash, which means he may not get to the end of the Grand Prix with the fuel that he's got. We've had no safety cars, we had no VSCs, a few drivers are probably underfueled here tonight. Figure there could be safety cars based on what's happened in Creative Series before. If Tonka is on the way that he is, he may not get to the end of the race.
No, and I tell you what, this will be a great opportunity for Racing Chai. I think this will, if it stays like this, given the fact that Racing has got a reasonable gap in the title race, the championship could yet go his way here tonight. Based off what I'm saying, obviously I could be wrong. Obviously I'm waiting for adjudication from the championship itself, but looking at it, I can see at the front end that Racing Chai could yet be crowned champion. He came into this 7 points clear at the top. Skyzy ideally needed to win tonight in order to make sure that we took the championship fight to Saudi. But looking at this right now, Racing Chai is in proximity of winning this title. El Guri, as we can now see them coming through the final corner, we can now see El Guri, Racing Chai nestling in that fastest lap of the race. That'll be another point he can add to his locker as well, should he be able to bring that home.
But don't forget, Razin Chai, I believe, did get that intermediate pole as well. So he would try, he's already got, he may potentially get the win and intermediates pole. That'll be 26 points already, as Tom97 has got past El Guri.
Yeah, heading through now, Tom97 doing extremely well. Obviously, remember, he does have the penalty, which will go against him. And with Skyzy, 3.8 seconds up the road. El Guri still on reasonable tyres, 8-lap-old mediums at this point. That will, of course, still be just as effective as they have been since he strapped them on. Of course, his last lap was still relatively quick, a 1:31.567, which was actually faster than Tom's previous lap of a 1:32.253. Basically getting a toe off the Alfa Romeo Sauber just to stay in proximity. And El Guri just trying to stay in behind Tom at this case, just trying to make sure there is still a window of opportunity of not only staying within the penalty realm of achieving this P3 and a successful podium, which would be a grand achievement if we consider what happened to El Rey earlier on. But look at Racing Chai, 5.5 clear. That is the difference maker. That result, obviously, of that spin that Skyzy suffered earlier on at the hands of that collision with Emphatic coming out of turn 1 and turn 2. Obviously, at this point, it has thrown a huge spanner in the works. In the meantime, folks, we can take a little look at the championship standings. I will update you guys on the current permutations going into the final round. Now, should it stay like this, it will head to Saudi Arabia, as now we see El Guri coming back down the outside there of Tom 97, getting the move done. It will see the title race continue onwards, heading in towards Saudi Arabia. 134 points to Rasin Chai should it stay like this, and 122 points to MSkyZ. That is based off race points alone.
Yes, it was good to have a bit of an update as well. It was 9 points going into this, and it's now going to be, I think, a 12-point gap now heading towards Saudi Arabia, which will make, like I said, SkyZ's job a bit more difficult. But now, what is going to make life even more difficult is Tom is going to be chasing him down once again. He's right on the back of El Guri heading towards turn 10. You can see the traction that he has gained on this back straight. He means business. He wants that podium on track. I think he's still going to potentially still get P4 because the gap between himself and Rob is quite massive. So that could be very decent considering where he qualified as well. Matty D has gone into the pit lane, but we've got the likes of El Taco Man and Luke Horwick fighting for P15. And this is for the final points paying position. Points, like George was saying, up to P15. And Luke wants to get some here in the Creator Series. Taco Man wants to get some points to help him solidify his place in F1 this season. There are the points on your screen right now. First place gets 25 points, second place gets 20 points, 18, 16, 14, 12, 10, 8, 7, all the way down to 1 point for 15th spot. And looks like Luke Horwick is trying to get the move done on El Taco Man once again, up into P15. So at the moment, Luke Horwick is going to get the final point, George.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way as they now head through on these remaining laps. We're now coming into the final 11 and soon to be final 10. El Guri heading through turn 4, leaping after Tom 97. Tom 97 incidentally managing to bring the gap down between he and SkyZ to 2.6 now. The gap between Rasin Chai and MSkyZ only growing at this stage. 132.282 in the last lap for SkyZ, with Rasin Chai now 131.183, and Rasin still holding on to the fastest lap of the race, which will give him that additional point and no doubt make it 26 that he'll walk away with. Obviously, I'm not quite sure whether he got the intermediate tyre pole as well. I'm trying to think back as to what the result was on that. It was Rasin. So that'll be yet another delivery of points going towards Rasin too. So it's been a great day at the office. If you're Rasin Chai, still quite a bit of time still to go, but it certainly does put him in the driving seat heading through to Saudi Arabia in a week's time. And no doubt he'll be looking to bring his utmost and his best as Noiguera picks up a 3-second time penalty of his own. And that is now 4 drivers that have picked up penalties so far in this race. Infratic jumping past Zafso as well for P11 there in the classification as they now rise up through turn 11 and look to try and bring a healthy end to this race. You can just see there though, Zafso far from done, still right in the wheel tracks. 8 laps only accrued on his mediums, but Infratic on softs, which is going to make life very difficult for the Aston Martin.
Oh no, Luke Horwick has left the session, so the chance of him getting points is second to none right now, but Emphatic, he's going to try and move his way up the standings, but Safso's going to try and spoil the party for that. But that is a shame. Taco Man is probably going to breeze past him now because of the AI settings, but that is sad. But meanwhile, in P11, Safso has got past in towards turn number 1 with ease. Will he have the DRS though? No, that belongs to Emphatic. Emphatic is going to try and have the piece of the pudding here in towards turn number 4. He goes to the left-hand side this time. Tries to get past Safso, which he does. And Safso could fight towards turn 5, 6 and 7. Where was the last time we said that? We said this a while back, but he's going to back off just for the time being. There's not that long to go to the end of the race. You don't want to take too much risk unless you have a decent gap.
Yeah, now as they head out to turn 8, Zafso losing a little bit more time to Fabio. That's no surprise given the fact that Infratic is on those softs and has done a brilliant job of maintaining the pace levels on them as well. 10 laps still to go here in this race now. Once again, another 6/10 lost for MSkyZ in behind Rasin Chai. El Guri now 2.5 in behind the McLaren. Still a chance here for El Guri to potentially land P2 here. He has had a healthy toe off Tom 97 as they once again look to swap the DRS. Both of them, I think, smelling an opportunity here, Jess, for a potential podium and a better podium as well. There's P2 up for grabs at this rate.
Yeah, it could be as well, based on all the penalties that we're seeing right now with the potential pit stops as well. Because if you do get a penalty, that does not help your chance on a podium at this stage. El Guri's soft tyre pace is looking amazing right now. And what good recovery it will be. Imagine what it would have been if he didn't have that mistake earlier on in the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Pei is now coming into box as well, so that's a pit stop for him, and no doubt he'll be looking to get his tyres changed, fresh softs, I should say, going onto the car. There's Zafso trying to double back on Infratic here once again. We saw those two squabbling earlier on. Infratic looked to build the gap, but unfortunately for him, it's actually been brought straight back in, and Zafso is on the attack as they head down in towards turn 8. Still very much a top 10 placing there for the Aston Martin driver to gain and certainly strive after as they now head down through turn 9 in towards turn 10. As the smoke uplifts from the tyres from the Ferrari, they head down the straight. The DRS now open for Zafso. Will he plumb for the move this time? It stays into the back, very, very close to the back of the Scuderia Ferrari. They head up through turn 11 and through towards turn 12. The gap now between El Guri still stagnant between he and Tom 97, both working together with the DRS once again as they look to go side by side. And now El Guri takes advantage and now breaks to within 2 seconds of Skyzy, at least for a split second. And Skyzy is now 8.5 back from Racing Chai. So El Guri now on full attack, as is Tom 97. Skyzy at this point is no longer safe.
Nope, he's not, and the amount of points that he's down at the moment, he can't afford to get the likes of Tom 97 and El Guri to pass him as well. So maybe the contact he had earlier on is definitely hindering him a little bit as well. El Guri and Tom know the situation between themselves and Skyzy as well, which can make things not safe for Skyzy, but looking very good for El Guri. He got a win last week. He could be on for another podium, which could climb in up the championship standings, and he wasn't even here for the whole season. This is how good this season was so far. But another thing to point out, like I was saying earlier, Tom is trying to lift and coast. He's saving on fuel. He's just gone out of the warning light at the moment, but he is losing a bit more time than what we saw El Guri. So he just got to manage his fuel effectively to make sure he gets to the end of the race. Everyone else is doing fine on fuel, so they should be A-OK. But almost getting to the point where it is not possible for safety cars. So it's going to be putting the foot to the floor until the end of the race to see if they can do it. Well done to a lot of the drivers for keeping it clean for the majority of this race, as Tom 97 is on the back of El Guri, George.
Yeah, he certainly is. Once again, they look to swap, playing DRS chicken pretty much here at this stage. And Tom 97 now up into third and working very clearly together with El Guri in a bid to close the gap on Skyzy. And I think Skyzy knows it as well. They're getting closer and closer. And already now 1.9 seconds of the realm turns into 1.8. And Tom 97 is on the attack. There is Skyzy as we ride on board with him. He's now 9 seconds behind Racing Chai, who is looking to take the race home and hosed here as they hurtle down through towards turn 8. And there's a little bit of traffic there as well in front of them. Tom 97 now 1.6 away, and he's really starting to put the burners on here. Blue flags erupting as Hoodie Pete is now going to be met with Skyzy.
Yep, and they're going to get some DRS as well, so that could help Skyzy a little bit, try and keep the gap to Tom 97 and El Guri. And I think he gained a bit of time and he saved a bit of ERS, in fact, as a matter of fact, so that's going to help him a little bit. But they've got pretty much 8 laps to go until the end of this one. Will Skyzy be able to hold on to that podium, or will everyone else start chasing him down? I think he'll definitely get 4th unless he makes a mistake. So I think he should be fine on that one. But he wanted to win this one. He had a chance winning this one. He was one of our favourites to win this one. It doesn't look like he's going to do it for the time being. Tom edging ever closer right now. But we got one of the Red Bulls that we're biting with. That guy Vince, who's had a stellar race. One of the standout performances, I think, today. Who was managing to defend for his life with the likes of Meraki and Rob. And Vince is going to try and go once more on the tyres that you wouldn't expect to last this long. He's going to use the DRS. He's not going to use the ERS just yet as they make their way towards turn number 1. And it's great to see how Vince is able to keep up with Meraki on 13-lap-old softs, which pretty much around about the 40-50% mark, which is really great to see. I don't think he's going to make the challenge just yet, but Vince is doing not too shabby. Can he get to the end of the race? It's going to be tough. but he's going to get some solid points in this race, which, if he keeps this up, this would help him to keep his place in the Creator Series in the F1 side and not get into the playoffs.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a very vital moment. Obviously, what I want to talk about is this championship fight. This will, no doubt, even if mSkyZ drops down to 4th place, it will still go to Saudi Arabia. Obviously, the points gap, should it drop to 4th for mSkyZ, will be 16 points based on race points alone between Rasin Chai and mSkyZ. Therefore, we will be dueling at Saudi Arabia to decide the fate of the Creator Series Championship. But the advantage will be firmly in the hands of the Mercedes. Rasin Chai, who'll be looking to add this to his locker. Yet another victory could be brought to the helm of Rasin Chai. It'll be his first victory of the season campaign. And no doubt he'll be joining another succession of drivers. Of course, mSkyZ has not won since China, and that trend looks like it's continuing now as he's 10 seconds away from Rasin Chai. And unbelievably enough, obviously, no one else has managed to achieve 2 race wins like, of course, Tom97 did after achieving victory back at Portugal. Unbelievable, it has to be said. As we now see Rasin Chai coming out of turn 8. It's just been a very controlled drive, Jess.
Yeah, we haven't talked much about him, did we, George? Because he literally has not put a foot wrong the entirety of the race. As soon as he came to the pits for one final time, we didn't touch him. He knows what he had to do as well, and sometimes, usually, I don't feel this, but usually for Rasin, if he's near the front, there's not much pressure on him. As long as he outscores SkyZ next week, he is champion if he keeps this up, and he's looking on course to really be... He's on the pad, believe it or not, when a lot of people in this Creator Series grid is on the wheel. And I believe it or not, if my calculations are correct, is he moving to wheel at some point as well? He did say in one of the interviews in the season that he's moving over to the wheel. Is he going to do that next season, do you think, George?
Oh, yeah, he'll definitely commit, but we've had a moment here as well. Taco Man just making a little bit of contact with F1 Alex, and it's been a really rough day at the office for Taco Man. Of course, we saw the incident between he and, of course, the moment with Matty D13 coming through the slalom, and unfortunately met F1 Alex. Matty D13 was, in fact, part of that too. Of course, Matty coming off worse earlier on when spinning on the outset of this particular set of corners as they head down now in towards turn 8. As they now whittle their way out and put the accelerator to the floor and head down through towards turns 9 and 10. Taco's got to try and gamble and get it back. Of course, he's on fresh softs now, so should have the pace in order to try and get himself past F1 Alex, who is on 16-lap old medium tyres. Matty D13 on 7-lap old softs at this point. We've got now, at this moment in time, 4 laps to go here in the race. Infratic now jumps through past Safso to withstand P10 and hold position, with Safso now down in 11th spot. But Safso will have the run heading out of turn 3 through towards turn 4. He opens up now, heading down through towards the next right-hander, the Aston Martin with the upper hand, and blast past the Ferrari. But Fabio refusing to give in, unfortunately has to concede given the fact that there is no gaps to play with, and will stay in behind. But we're going to head across the sky. He's got a clip for us. Over to you, Scott.
I do indeed. It's Taco Man. He comes into turn 1 and he just misses his break point. Look at this. Oh, avoids. Can't stop hitting F1 Alex, who unfortunately is just not his day. Matty D lucky to not be hit as well by Taco Man. You can see in his face, just one of those days. Sadly, everyone's done it. You just miss your break point here. Has to go in right and sadly cannot stop in time.
I think, unfortunately, obviously that's his second damaged wing so far today, and not only that, he just left the pits as well, so hardships all around as well. There's nothing worse than coming through out the pits and damaging your front wing from the get-go. I know how that feels. It sucks. So yeah, unfortunately for Taco Man, it's damaged. Thank you very much, Scott, for that, as we now see Tom97 off the back of SkyZ here, so could yet be P2 under threat, and he's brought El Guri into the fight. So SkyZ now under pressure. This race about to kick up a level with 3 laps to go as we now ride on board with El Guri coming out of turn 7, heading in towards turn 8. Tom97 wary of making the move here at this point. He knows he doesn't have to, but SkyZ has got to defend for his life here at this point, Jess.
Yeah, I could see Skyzy lifting and coasting, so he's also in danger of running out of fuel as well. And we literally just had word and confirmation that Tom is literally 0.00 fuel. He's not in the plus or the negative. He's doing all the right things to try and save his fuel right now as well, whereas Skyzy is in a little bit more trouble. Hopefully we'll find out how much fuel he's on at the moment. He's on minus 0.03, I believe, if I can see on his dash. He might have gone down since then, but he's on the cusp. He just got to lift it. He's got to lift and coast this point, but we'll find out exactly how much he's got to play with until the end of this race very soon.
Yeah, no, incredible. Obviously now it's a game of chess. We've alluded to the fact that when it comes down to tyre strategy, it's also a game of chess, but when it comes to fuel, makes things just a tad more complicated, as now Tom97 looks to open up the door. Skyzy now in trouble. There's now Tom97 with his superior pace. Race winner twice this season. His last one at Portugal. He now moves into second. Guri with a late move as well. Looks to try and displace Skyzy. Very nearly had Tom97 on the outskirts of turn 2 in towards turn 3 as well. And now back comes Skyzy. Looking to make it now too wide between he and the Alfa Romeo. They go late in towards turn 4. Guri looking to battle back. This, of course, for the podium place, for the runner-up spot. Second place for Guri. The Spanish god is back. He may have been upset after the damage occurred early in the race, but he has fought. He has fought back after an earlier undercut, and he's now back in the fight for a really decent podium position.
He's one of my driver of the day at the moment so far. How on earth is he able to come back from being spun earlier on, and now he's on the cusp of getting P2? That's how much pace he's got right now as well. And he would have been up chasing Razin Chai if he didn't have that. That is insane as well. I think next season, I'm going to put an early prediction. I know we haven't got to the next season yet. We're only on season 5. But I think Guri has a decent shot at the Creator Series title if he keeps his form up like this in Bahrain. I really hope we do have a fight with him next season, because he's come on leaps and bounds since joining the Creator Series. And his racecraft has got even better and better as each race has gone on. And he's going to chase down Tom97. He wants to get P2 on the road. You don't want to fight too much because you don't want to get involved in an incident. But Guri is up into second spot. He's doing a great job. He's got P2 on the road. I'll keep an eye on his warnings as well to see if he's on. He's got one warning at the moment. He's got one warning, and Tom97 is going to challenge once again for P2 on the road, which he does. Tom97 is up to P2, and Guri won't be too bothered about that because he's got a penalty. But he's still got Skyzy chasing him down, so it's not over yet.
Well, if anything, it's helping him protect the place against Skyzy, because that's the only player in this fight that can effectively remove that P2 off him. But at this stage, Tom97, a stellar drive nonetheless. Of course, starting P10, he's now P2 on track. Obviously, though, has greater things to deal with, including the fuel usage on top of everything else as well. Has got to try and manage the battling against Guri and also the tyres nonetheless too. Of course, 17 laps accrued, and you know, Tom97, one-stop strategy. He's the only driver to have done it here in this race tonight, and has obviously had his challenges, and great to see him back in amongst it as well. But at the very least, he will achieve a P4 come the end of the race. Only 3 seconds currently lodged against him. At this stage, Skyzy will take home 16 points, just based on where he finishes on track, alluding to what I said earlier on. Even if he is overtaken by Tom97 and Guri, it will mean that he will hold on to 4th. But at this rate, even with Tom97's penalties, they make it 3 wide in towards turn 1. Skyzy determined to try and take that second back, and they run each other off the road again as they head through. No! Goodness me, a huge crash! An almighty crash. Guri, I think you could classify as a dangerous re-entry, Jess. I was going to say it's his redemption arc coming in here tonight, and I can't help but feel he's thrown it all away.
I think he has, and that was an example of another commentator's curse. We said good things about Guri, and he's lost a chance for a podium. I think Skyzy will be very, very lucky there, and that's allowing the likes of Meraki to close up as well. Skyzy's going to get 3rd, of course, but what could have been for Guri, unfortunately. But that has increased the gap even more to Razin Chai. He has not put a foot wrong the entirety of this race. He knew what he had to do. His soft tyre pace was impeccable. He got the intermediates pole. What more could he say about him, George?
Perfect day in the office for one Racing Chai. It's been a long season, 9 races secured on the calendar. 9 races with 8 different winners. And at the same time, a first race win for Racing Chai, who takes victory for the first time here in the F1 Creator Series this season. That is 4 podiums, 2 P2s and a P3. Back at the fan-voted Monaco race, he has now taken a vibrant win with Tom97 on track finishing second, but third due to the penalty, with mSkyZ in second. El Rey Guri, he's going to forfeit more places after the damage no doubt he sustained coming through turn 1. Meraki finishing 4th after starting at the back, and the F2 championship leader, Rob, finishes in 5th. An incredible race all the way down, and Mr. Dale finishes in the top 10. That very rarely happens, Jess.
Go on, Dale. I mean, he's finished, I think, ahead of most of his... Apart from Noguera, who's had a good result, he's finished ahead of pretty much most of his rivals who are in the bubble. The likes of Dirt Chocolate, obviously. Chesnoid is not here tonight. Curbs as well, down in 14th. Dale has jumped up quite a bit. It's going to be tough for him to potentially get into the spot where he could get back into stay in the F1 side, but that's really going to give him a confidence boost. This is a Dale we wanted to see for ages. I'm really happy for him. Rob, again, very impressive as well. We'll see how he does in the F2 finale next week. Meraki from last to 4th, another great performance. He's liking this last 2 challenge at the moment, isn't he? He got a 4th in Portugal. He's got a 4th in Bahrain. Didn't quite get the intermediates pole, but the only time he hasn't finished outside the top 4 was in China and in the Austria Sprint.
Yeah, incredible stuff indeed. A fabulous drive from Racing Chai. It's been a long time coming. We've alluded to it time and time again. He has taken podiums historically, donning the visual of Lucas Blakely, the current F1 Esports champion, and, credit to Racing Chai. It's been coming. Knocking on the door twice this season when he was runner-up. We alluded to Monaco, Austria at the Red Bull Ring, but this time it's he on the top step. He takes victory at the Bahrain Grand Prix, makes it 8 different winners in a 9-race season so far. mSkyZ in second place. Tom97, what a podium after the penalty sustained earlier on. Meraki from the back, straight into 4th. Some big points going towards his championship, with Rob as well in 5th. El Rey Guri, the drama continues. 6th place is where he finishes. That guy Vince in 7th place. Noguera in 8th place, with Mr. Dale a vibrant top 10 in 9th. Zafso in 10th place after battling against Infratic, who finishes in 11th. Peya manages 12th, with Dirk in 13th. Curbs in 14th. Luke Howick in 15th. And of course, Al Taco Man, F1 Alex, Hoodie Pete, Matty D13 and Patterson round off the rest of the order. But an incredible moment, a huge fight, and certainly a wonderful championship grind as well. Racing Chai, to his credit, delivered exactly what he was looking for. It really was a splendid battle out on track. SkyZ gave it everything. We saw the fighting happening right at the final lap. Scott, I want to bring you in on this because it certainly was dramatic, to say the least. Wasn't expecting it to end in a crescendo like that. But, obviously, both drivers weighing up their championships, I think.
Yeah, definitely one way to end the race. So unfortunate. I've got both points of view of SkyZ and Elway if we want to go into it at any point, but just so unfortunate. Yeah, do you know what? Let's do that. Let's do that as we're here. So this is SkyZ's point of view coming in, and then we'll handle Elway right after. So coming into lap 56 down the straight, we know that was where it is. As we can see, it's all very close to each other. Everyone flashing. SkyZ on the inside, just spins it out, loses a little bit of the track. You can see the red arrows behind him as Tom just goes straight past, and you can't really see too much of what's happened to do with El Rey, so that's why it will take you straight to that, which is what we have right here. Let me share this tab for you instead. Let's get it up. This is El Rey's point of view. Very unfortunate for him. As we can see, his point of view, he's on the outside. Tom's just absolutely stuck in the middle. Little bit of contact with the McLaren, goes off wide and just comes straight back onto the track and hits the McLaren on the tyre and does a spin out as well. He can't afford to waste any more time, but he also can't afford to just get back onto the track as well like that. Very unfortunate, and just an unfortunate outcome there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there were two drivers we were looking forward, I think, to seeing a final lap battle of, and it looked like El Guri had actually beaten mSkyZ towards the very end, but nevertheless, these are the moments that can occur from time to time. Obviously, the initial contact, we saw the McLaren coming together with the Alpha. No doubt, mSkyZ committing, I think, on worn tyres, I think, Scott, in that case. But still, nonetheless, El Guri rejoining and unfortunately perhaps coming on a bit too abrasive back onto the circuit and meeting the McLaren. At the end of the day, rejoining like that, you're only going to see a McLaren, aren't you, Jess? I mean, at this point. So that's life at this point. But hey, listen, I mean, a fantastic race. And one thing we've got to take from it is that, you know, Rasin Chai delivered a strong performance.
I think the important situation was that Rasin Chai avoided the carnage. He pitted at the right time, and he was trying to avoid the traffic. That is very key on a track like Bahrain, where there's a lot of DRS trades. You've got to time your strategy right, and if you come in at the wrong time, even if it's right for the undercut, that is where you that's where you lose all the time at the moment as well. And just to point out something in the chat, please be nice. This is the Creator Series at the end of the day. No one should have send me messages to each other. People make mistakes at the end of the day. It is for a bit of fun, so please be nice to all our creators, even if they make mistakes, please.
Yeah, the Creator Series is what it says. It's a content series that is here for the obviously the content creators to produce content, and obviously that is one of those things. It's obviously a very emotional battle. We love emotion. That's what great content is. And obviously a big dogfight between two fantastic drivers. And obviously El Rey, I think, will be disappointed. He deserved, obviously, a lot more out of that race. I couldn't agree more. It's been great having him back in the championship as well. He always offers some exciting moments, to say the least. But, yeah, incredible. Lots to look forward to, though. We got some interviews to bring you very shortly, of course, including our race winner, Rasin Chai. So sit tight, everybody. I'd imagine he's going to be absolutely thrilled to certainly offer his very best for the championship. I'm sure I'd love to get some insight on what he's thinking right now, given the fact that the championship is potentially on the table. I'm expecting him to be jubilant about that fact. Obviously, the championship goes to the final round, Jess, and we've got a finale of all finales.
Yeah, it is Rasin Chai versus SkyZ at Jeddah, one of the most trickiest circuits on the F1 calendar. We haven't raced much there in the Creator Series in general. Not many people do races around there. The first sector is quite challenging. It has really big high speeds. The second highest speed track in terms of pace compared to Monza as well. So it should be a good one as well. We got two championship finales, George. We got one for F1 as well. And of course, we got one for F2 with 2 or 3 drivers in the mix, in particular with Rob and Hayden Gullis as well. So make sure you tune in next week for those 2 championship finales. It's going to be good. But before that, though, we want to speak to the top 3.
Yeah, we certainly do. Just waiting for them now to join our commentary chat. But yeah, a truly fantastic contest. I mean, obviously, we look back at some of the results. You know, we've also got Rob, I think, who did not certainly disgrace himself here in the F1 side of things. Race winner, of course, historically in F2. Not only that, topping the F2 championship, and already, you know, a top 5, Jess, here at the end of this race, which I think speaks volumes about even the F2 drivers that are now looking to step up.
And that's a good warm-up for next season as well, because if it can pull off a top 5 in this environment, just wait till he gets to the playoffs, because he is confirmed in to have a chance anyway, even if he doesn't win the title. But I think it's going to be likely that he does win the title. But if he's able to do that in a reserve scale tonight, imagine what he's going to do in F1 next season. He's going to give some of the F1 drivers something to think about. It's crazy how so much. I mean, coming into the F2 season, I knew Rob was going to be quick, but I didn't think he was going to be that quick as well. And Rob obviously had the experience going into this with the F2 Bahrain race last week. And he's just a really nice guy in terms of the French content creator scene as well. It's great to see the progress he is shown as well. Best of luck to him next week. And we're going to get the man at the moment into the commentary box, George. I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, Rasin Chai will be joining us now very shortly. Folks, do bear with us. He is now with us in the commentary box. Rasin, what a performance. It finally came. I remember us speaking about this not too long ago after, I think, your P2 at Portugal. And yeah, now you're back. You're a winner this season. 8th different winner in 9 races. That's got to mean a lot.
Yeah, it's was an amazing race. I can't really fault anything I did in that race. You know, we picked strategy, nailed it. We saved a soft task from qualifying. We got pole position, which was surprising to me. I didn't expect it. We got Inter's pole as well, so you know, we got an extra point from that. Unfortunately, we lost fastest lap, but yeah, 26 points. I can't really complain.
Yeah, and obviously now this puts you in a great position for the grand finale next week. Obviously very exciting. We're heading to Saudi, and you know, obviously it's in your hands basically at this point, but I'd imagine the pressure is going to be very high heading to Jeddah.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. I mean, I don't know how many points I have on Skyzy. I think it's maybe 13 or something like that. I think obviously I know my minimum position, which is probably P6. I need to finish or something like that. However, the issue is that Saudi Arabia has never been a strong track for me, and it won't be next week. But obviously the aim is just to keep it clean, to keep it near the top, avoid the walls. That's the main thing. Saudi Arabia, very easy to hit the walls at high speed. So yeah, just need to keep it clean, and then hopefully we can bring it home, and next week hopefully win that championship.
Yeah, and obviously to go out in style would be the best. You know, to claim a second victory this season I think would be good, and to do it back-to-back at Jeddah. Is that the plan, full focus, just maximise what you can on the day? Yeah,
100%. I don't think I'll be up for the win next week. Definitely not. I think a few of the guys are quite fast. It depends who's racing next week. You know, if you've got the likes of, you know, Ben racing again next week, you got Alex Gillen, Tom, then you throw a massive mix, right? It's not the best thing I want, but you never know. Like, so we'll have to see. I will try push as much as I can next week. But in the meantime, yeah, I'm just going to enjoy this win.
Yeah, no, enjoy it, absolutely. And congratulations and well done on consolidating your place at the front of the championship. All roads lead to next week end when we head to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Bring it on.
Yes, sir.
Catch you later, Razin. Well done, mate. Congratulations.
Appreciate it, guys. Take care.
All the best. Razin Chai, everybody, of course. Victor here tonight at Bahrain. We will, of course, now bring in the one, the only Skyzy. Skyzy, welcome back to the commentary box. It's been a little while, my friend. Obviously, we've seen some battling out on track. The championship goes to the final frontier, which is Jeddah. A busy race today. Probably didn't go the way you wanted, though.
Yeah, quite chaotic, I must say. From start to crash. With the restart, I lost my interpole. Then I missed the pole position with a very crappy lap. And then we had a good strategic battle with Razin and Array at first. And I think I knew I had to lift like after half the race. I had not a lot of fuel. So my goal was just to hold the GRS of anyone in front, and I think Razin understood it, so he kept it behind me for a good amount of laps, which was smart from him. And then with the traffic I got when I boxed for a second time, I got Fabio and Dale battling in front, and sadly I got caught in accidents with a messy curb, so I lost around 10 seconds, which would have been enough to undercut Razin a bit, even though the goal was to finish second with his strategy. And yeah, then I had to attack because I had no fuel left, and I decided to go for a move because I knew Tom was backing me down to be able to for Array to catch. Which was, I think, his plan for Array to be ahead of me. So my goal was just to try a move last lap, and sadly for me the move was a bit too much. So yeah, deeply apologize to Array. I gave him a big bump into turn 1. Nothing too massive when we watch back everything that happened in the full season. But yeah, definitely that was my bad. I apologize for that. And yeah, sadly that's not the way I wanted to finish. Still P2, still behind our Razin, but yeah, sad finish, sad way to finish Bahrain. And but yeah, I'm good with the results, not the way I wanted the result to be.
No, I can imagine. Obviously, everyone would prefer to finish the race probably in a cleaner way. But obviously that's the way it goes from time to time, especially when we're competitive out on track. But given the current vein of form, you must be somewhat relieved, to be fair. I mean, that's your best finish since Monaco at the fan-voted circuit. But even so, throughout the course of this season, I think I make that to be your 4th podium. Does it concern you at the fact that you haven't had a victory since round 1 at China?
Well, I had a big amount of bad luck through this season with the wheel disconnection, sad DNF. But yeah, beyond the podium is always the goal. I'd rather be on the top step, but Razin was just smarter today and better. And yeah, I don't deserve the win if I put someone in spin anyway. So yeah, happy with the podium. The title is still on the line, I think.
Yep, it is. It is still on the line. Yep.
It will be tough. I think it's above 10 points, I think. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see next week. But again, I want it to be cleaner. I was the first to call for better racecraft from last season or last week, and today that's me that does a lot of bad stuff with air ray. So yeah, I just need that kind of thing not to happen again.
Well, I think that's very big of you, and obviously very very humbling as well to hear as well. So credit to you, Skyzy, for that. We wish you all the very best at the grand finale at Jeddah as well.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. Skyzy, everybody, of course, very, very great to hear the words from him as well, obviously concerning the incident between he and El Rey Guri. This time, we do have another face, someone on the podium who had to really fight all the way up from P10 on the grid. And Tom, whilst qualifying did not go to plan after the spin, you must be somewhat relieved after the penalty as well that you managed to achieve a podium.
Yeah, we'll take it. It's okay. Not ideal for the championship. Obviously, Razin, GG, fantastic drive. But we did the best we could. First race on the new wheel, new pedals. It was going to be a tricky one, and yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah, I think that obviously looking at the race, the cards were stacked against you, it seemed in a way. Obviously, the end of qualifying certainly didn't go your way, and then on top of that, the penalties coming your way as well. I mean, track limits, it looked like 3 warnings in a case, which is very rare from you, to be fair, because obviously generally you're pretty smart when it comes to track running. Obviously, just a bit unfortunate on this occasion, but taking the positives out of this one, obviously teeing up a potential run at the championship next season, no doubt on your mind.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, a lot's happened in this one, so I think a bit more of a smooth season, and there's no reason why it shouldn't be on the cards. But today was just a bit of a test race, let's put it that way. So that's part of the reason why I got the track limits penalty. With a new wheel, there comes inconsistency. You're going to have, those moments where you'll make a slight mistake and got punished for it. So yeah, I'm happy. It was a decent drive. I think I could have done a bit better. Little things like subconsciously leaving your foot on the brake and you're like slowing yourself down the straight countless times this race. So much stuff. So a lot to learn, and next season hopefully we'll dial it up and get it all figured out.
Yeah, I mean, 5 podiums this season certainly doesn't go amiss. You've been one of the most consistent hitters of podium finishes this season, which is quite bizarre, seeing as, you probably should be on that form higher up in the championship. But I suppose given the fact that you have missed a few, the championship might have looked a lot different, I think, coming to this point. But obviously looking ahead, we've got a brand new game, F1 24. Are you optimistic about the future?
Yeah, I tried to be, generally a glass half empty rather than glass half full. Is that the correct expression?
I think it's the other way around.
Is it? Yeah. Whatever the more positive one of the two is.
Glass half full, not half empty.
Fair enough. I tried to look at the more positive outlook, so
Yeah.
hopefully obviously the new game helps. This game was a step up for me, handling wise, it suited me more. I've been more competitive this game. Still got a fair bit to go yet. Obviously we've still got a few more races, leagues and stuff to do, so yeah, looking forward to the future.
Yeah, well, Tom, I can already tell you, mate, we're going to have a great future, I'm sure, with you in the Creator Series as a driver. There's lots of amazing moments to come. Congratulations on your 5th podium of the season. and roll on Saudi.
Indeed, and I'll be out for vengeance.
That's it. That's what I like to see everybody. Tom97, folks. Congratulations, Tom, on a great effort. We'll look forward to seeing you next time at Saudi Arabia. And Jess, I think off the back of all of this, it is looking like at this stage that we're going to be in for a real treat come Saudi Arabia. Just a reminder for everyone at home, obviously, before we go into some little more analysis before we close out the day today. Obviously, the grand finale of the championship this season will be on Sunday, so you do not want to miss it. Make sure you join us next Sunday for all the action at Saudi, where we will be putting pedal to the metal for the final time this season and deciding who is going to take the title. Will it be Razin? Will it be MSkyZ? You'll have to wait and see and find out. But Scott, bringing you back in, sir, obviously off the back of the interviews that we have had, a very humble SkyZ, I think, off the back, took the brunt of the blame after that incident.
Yeah, I like his attitude. Nice guy, because he's certainly been on the other side of the table this season a few times, which is, mistakes here and there. So, to see him have a mistake, yeah, he put his hands up, like, fair enough. Also, Tom97, interesting to see he was on the different pedals as well, on the new wheel, and you certainly did see that little bit of a difference. He was really strong. He should be very proud of his performance. I'm not saying that, but maybe not exactly the Tom97 that we had seen before. So, this final race, will he get back into that? What a really good race. Can I just say, recently we've been having a streak of no safety cars, and I think it's red.
Unbelievable, right?
All drivers. Right, what's happening, George?
Crazy.
Who'd have thought? I mean, I've been here since season 1, right? And I do not know what's happened to this lot. Honestly, they've somehow turned a corner here in the Creator Series. Unbelievable. I mean, Jess, I think that sums it up, does it not? The fact that we have come so far. I think a lot of these content creators, they arrived as mere children. They've left grown adults.
I think the creators will have something to say about that, Mr. George Morgan. But what a great race as well in general. I have to say, million times better than the real life one. We had more battles in the real life one as well. Even though Razin Chai dominated, Razin Chai had to work for quite a bit of that race until some incidents happened. So very, very good as well. And interesting perspectives for the championship. Razin is now 12 points ahead of SkyZ coming into final round. SkyZ is 9 points ahead of Tom97, and Tom is 1 point ahead of Meraki. So those four are fighting for top 3 spot in the championship, and it's going to be very, very exciting going to the final round. Make sure you stay tuned. I can't wait as well. And don't forget, of course, we've got many other things to come as well, and I believe sign-ups are still open for the F1 Creator Series if you are a content creator and if you want to get involved next season in F1 or in F2.
Yeah, you know what to do, folks. Make sure you stay up to date, and we can talk about the social elements now while we're at it. Why not? It's that portion of the show this time around. If you want to check out the F1 Creator Series, folks, you certainly can at F1 Creator Series on all the bars above, really. You've got there YouTube, Instagram, you've got Twitter, X, or whatever you want to call it, as well as TikTok as well. Be sure to check it out. Of course, we are proudly powered by and sponsored by EA Sports F1 as well, and we very much appreciate their support. If you haven't done so already, if you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below, leave a like, and stay up to date with whenever we go live on the channel. And also, if you're watching us on Twitch, big hello to you guys as well. Of course, we've been on Twitch for such a long time, but if you haven't done so already, hit that follow button just underneath, just so you can just stay up to date with whenever we go live again as well, I suppose. Also, we have a Discord server available, a fan zone where you guys can get involved. Or if you want to be a driver and you are a creator, as Jess said, why not get involved? The sign-ups are open. We have both F2 and F1. Of course, we're now introducing this new playoff sequence that now enables promotion and relegation between F2 and F1, which is going to, I'm sure, cook up some dramatic scenes as we head to the final round, I'm sure. But yeah, looking forward to it. It's going to be special, folks. If you want to check me out at all on social media, you certainly can. Now, I've had a social media change of late, thanks to Instagram for banning my account. As you can see, I'm so happy about it. It's George Morgan TV at It's George Morgan TV. No, it's not actually. See, this is what it does to you. It's at It's George Morgan. Forget TV. I'm not on that anymore. At It's George Morgan on Instagram and Twitter. You can find me on those platforms as well as Instagram. I've already said that, as well as TikTok as well. So remember, at It's George Morgan, not George Morgan TV. Jess, where can they find you? You're muted, Jess.
Oh, for goodness sake. You can tell it's coming up
I
to nearly
enjoyed
10
the
o'clock at
miming,
night.
though. The miming was very good. I was actually very impressed for a minute. I thought you were taking the mic, but yeah, carry
Oh
on.
my god. You can tell I'm hungry as well because I need to have some food in a minute. Anyway, I'm on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, the lot, and my handle is at JessGames95. Very, very easy. Boom. Scott, what are your socials?
Yes, I am F1 Scott. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram. Again, just so happy to be here. Loved doing this clip book. Such a cool feature that Creator Series have brought in. Can't wait to see how far it goes in the future.
And also, if you don't want to miss Scott's excellent singing voice, please make sure you turn up on time to listen to the intro when it goes off at the start of the broadcast. No, it's incredible. Thank you both so much. Obviously, a wonderful broadcast, and we couldn't do it without you guys, the viewers at home as well. We really appreciate your support, and I hope you'll tune in next week because the title is going down to the wire. The final round will decide who's going to win it. Will it be Razin? Will it be Skyzy? Who knows? I tell you what, answers on a postcard, please. We'll see you next week on Sunday, folks. Don't miss it. It all comes down to this. Take care, folks. Goodbye.